On today's episode of Wellness on the Rocks, I am joined by an awesome bartender named Katherine Vaughan. Now, Katherine currently works at a brewery in downtown San Diego called Knotty Barrel. But she has over 14 years of experience in the restaurant industry, doing everything from working the line to waiting tables, bartending, has management experience. The two of us have an incredibly honest and open conversation about some of the challenges that come with working around alcohol. I would like to remind everyone who listens to this podcast that the goal of this whole thing is to help others grow and become better versions of themselves. And one way to do that is to show people who work in this industry that a lot of the bullshit that you go through, other people experience the same challenges too. This episode is how bartenders talk to each other off the clock while having a couple drinks and decompressing after a long week. We both share some super personal and vulnerable information about ourselves. And to be honest, there was part of me that didn't know if I should edit out some of the things that are said in this episode. But at the end of the day, I want this platform to be a place where people feel comfortable to express themselves and not feel judged by others. So I kind of get fucking hammered towards the end of this episode, and I was like, but this is a mental health podcast. I don't want this to turn into a boozy bar podcast moving forward, but I guess it was kind of bound to happen at some point. But you know, Catherine's fucking cool, man. She's pretty cool. It was a great time listening to her, picking her brain. You know, she knows her shit. She's been through it. I'm super happy she kind of leaned into me before this about coming on the show. She kind of pushed that a little bit towards me. And I'm super happy with how this episode came out. I could have edited out the second half of the episode and have it ends before I get hammered. But we really do get into some great stuff towards the end. So I kept it in, and now you get a 2-for-1. So Katherine on this episode talks about being a musician, being homeschooled, how she struggled with alcohol, the ins and outs of what we deal with working with alcohol for a living, and we really dive into some great topics. So enjoy, go visit her at the bar if you want to connect, and let's go. Irish Welsh or German? Do we not know?
We don't know.
Yeah?
My dad's dad was big on the fact that we were Irish, but he's a fucking liar, so...
Your
no
grandfather
idea.
was pretend... Would he...
I don't know. He was super proud of our Irish heritage, but he's a fucking liar in general, so who knows?
Where did he grow? Where did you guys grow up?
I grew up out in Colorado. My dad grew up out here in El Cajon. So my sister and I were actually both born out here.
Yo,
and
I
then
heard...
we moved when we were little.
I don't know about back then, but I've learned that there's like 4 major cities that have like big Irish heritage. It's New York City, Boston, Chicago, and San Diego.
Interesting.
There's just like an influx of Irish for
It could
some
be
reason.
the thing that my grandfather wasn't lying about.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know what it was back then, but...
Hey, cheers.
Cheers, dude. Thank you for joining me.
Yeah,
Appreciate
thanks
you,
for the
man.
invite.
I feel like you're someone who you kind of took some interest in this thing, and you were like, "Yo, that's kind of fucking cool, man. I want to see what that's about." So
yeah, absolutely.
And
it's delicious. On top of that.
I think it takes a lot of confidence to like come on here and do this. That's definitely been for me. This whole process is just like fucking feeling this whole expression and creativity and podcasting thing out. It's been kind of a roller coaster.
Totally. Well, and it's like, I think it's different too, because like your guests got to put themselves out there once. You got to do it every time, you know?
Yeah, I think it's kind of like riding a bike or doing anything, lifting weights, being a bartender. It's like the more repetitions you get, the better you get, the more comfortable, the more you understand this stuff. It's kind of like somebody's asking me, I found this really good analogy. Like when you first learn to bartend and you're trying to like make cocktails, like making a margarita is like, I remember the first time I got by the bar, I was like, okay, like wait, there's tequila, there's triple sep, there's lime juice, there's simple syrup, there's orange juice, sour mix, whatever you use. And I'm like in the process of this where I'm still like remembering, oh, the bottles are, where are the bottles? Oh, I got to measure the pour with a jigger, like, as opposed to like somebody who's a veteran bartender who's just like cranking out the bottles, free pouring, 8 seconds, here you go, cocktail served.
La La Land. Don't even, I'm not mentally present there at all. I'm just grabbing stuff and making drinks.
You're on autopilot, repeat, like you're just fucking moving. So I'm not quite there yet. I'm at the point, I think, with this whole thing where I've memorized the ingredients, but I'm still measuring out my pours, and I'm kind of like, muscle memory. So, but you work, so you're at Knotty Barrel.
Yep.
How long?
I just had my 7th anniversary there on June 28th. Yeah.
Been there for 7 years.
Yeah. I actually started there. So I moved out here from Denver in June of 17.
Okay.
And I started working over there 10 days after I moved here.
So what brought you into Knotty Barrel? Just door to door?
So, my sister actually moved out here a couple years before I did, and she was working at a coffee shop that the owners go to every day before work, on their way down. And so she had brought up to them while, she waited on them for, year and a half or something every morning, got their coffees down to a science and all that. And so she brought up to them that I was moving out here because at that point I had already been in the industry for 7 years. So, and I was planning on coming out here. So she floated it out to them and floated a resume.
Okay.
So
your sister helped kind of get you in the door.
Yeah.
She was a barista.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, I did that for a while.
We had an espresso machine at a Italian restaurant I worked at back home, and never again.
Really?
Never again. That's one of those, like, there are a few things that, like, if I were to be looking for another job at any point,
Yeah.
there are a couple things that are, no, I don't want to work there. One of them is if there's an espresso machine. I'm not doing that.
Bro, I feel like being a barista is, like, so much less complicated than behind a bar. I don't know. It's just like...
And to me, it's just, like, I hate it. I hate
really?
it. I don't know.
Huh. My first day at the coffee shop, I used to work at Hotel Del Coronado in their Eno Market. So when you put the espresso in, and you got to turn it tight. I didn't do that right 5 times. I pressed the water, and espresso shot out
the
over
side.
the entire cafe.
Yeah. Oh,
and God. There was this veteran girl who'd worked there for like 20 years. She goes, "Aye!" Like, so yeah. That's, I don't know. It's kind of, it's like being a service bartender. You just like, you're making coffees, you're making cocktails with the tickets and stuff like that.
Yeah. And like, I've got friends that like love that. I've got a bunch of coffee shop friends. They're all about it. It is not for me. I couldn't tell you what I hate about it.
Yeah.
But I will never ever work somewhere that has an espresso machine ever again.
Huh. So before, you said you'd been in the industry for 7 years before you got to San Diego. Like, what was your first industry job?
So my first industry job, I got, I had a old manager of mine who, I had worked retail for, out of high school. He hit me up and he was like, "Hey, I'm at this new spot and we need people."
This was in Denver?
This was back in Denver.
So you're working retail in Denver.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I had an old manager of mine reach out to me. He was like, "Hey, you miss working with me? I miss working with you. Come in. I'll get you a job. Do you want to work in a restaurant?" He was like, "You'll get tips." And at that point, I had just started college. And so I had taken a year off after high school. So I was like 19 going in.
Okay.
But like the tips, awesome. I was making more. It was potential to make more money than I could doing the retail jobs.
Of course, it's definitely a step.
So
up,
like that was the foot in the door that he got me to come down there, and then I ended up falling in love with the ownership of that spot, and so I ended up working for them for like 6.5 years.
Okay.
At that spot.
What kind of spot was it?
It was a little neighborhood Italian restaurant, so it was like. It wasn't fancy, but it was the fanciest thing in the neighborhood.
Were you waiting tables, bartending, hosting?
So I started out waiting tables right off the get-go, and then they put in a bar like 3 months after I started there.
Huh.
And they needed people to bartend, and I was like, I'll do it. And so I started bartending at 20 years old, super illegally.
Is it in Denver?
Yeah.
Oh, and it's 18 everywhere else I've worked.
It's 18 to serve, but it was 21 to make stuff.
Oh,
so it's
interesting.
like as a
the
server,
waitress,
yeah.
right,
So
right,
like the
okay,
waitress,
yeah,
I could walk stuff to the table at
Yeah.
18, but I couldn't like make a
true.
drink, or pour a drink.
Okay, I'm sorry. So you were a waitress at this restaurant?
Mm-hmm. And then moved up to bartender like 4 months after I started there because we put in a bar and they just needed people. And I had open availability, so why not?
So, dude, I think that like there's a lot of bartenders who never wait tables. They go from like bar back to bartender and stuff like that. I feel like waiting tables, because that's how I got into it. I waited tables all the way until I was 25. I didn't get behind a bar till I was 25. And I feel like moving around a restaurant, that kind of like I learned how to do that. And at every bar I've been at, I've had to do a combo of bartending and waiting tables.
Totally.
Like that knowledge of how to move through a restaurant, through a kitchen, picking up tables, bussing tables, seating people, menus. Like, I don't know. I think that's like the fact that I've been able to do a combo of that, because a lot of bartenders don't want to do that shit. They go, I'm a bartender, I'm not a waitress, or I'm not a waiter, or, so.
I think it's interesting because you can tell those kind of people that didn't do it, you can tell it in how they move.
Yeah. Yep. Because
and it's not a bad thing. It's just different,
Like the bar, I'm at Stout, and I think you have the same thing at Knotty Barrel where you're taking tables. Like part of it is coming around the bar, meeting the party of four, dropping menus, taking their order on a pad, memorizing everything and stuff like that. It's just like it's like you want to have as many skill sets in your arsenal as possible. Oh,
absolutely. Absolutely. That was like that same spot back home. That's where I learned how to cook, because they needed they had like 3 cooks quit all at the same time. Something happened. I don't remember, but they're like, "You want to learn how to cook?
Really?
You need a warm body." And so I ended up doing just total mishmash of whatever. I ended up managing there. And so it was like throughout the course of my week, I could be doing anything in the restaurant that wasn't signing a paycheck,
Wow. How long were you, like, do you think you were in the kitchen for, like, over the course of the years?
So I ended up, the owner there, she's got a couple of sons who had another spot that was like more of like a slices place in downtown Denver, right? Mm-hmm. And so I ended up working in the kitchen down there. So I would go down there and work the morning shift in the kitchen, and then I would leave there and come and bartend and manage at night at the other spot.
Yeah. Doing doubles at different restaurants. Yeah. It's a good way to
but
make
it was like
extra cash.
like all the same family, so it was like, whatever.
Damn.
But yeah, so I probably have 5 solid years in a row of kitchen experience that ran concurrently with front of house experience.
Not many people have front and back house experience.
They're 2 totally different animals.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Like,
hold on 1 second. Jesus. Ginger, wrong. You're going in your crate. Come on.
Learning experiences, man.
Yeah, you in the kitchen, me with the dogs.
Yeah, always.
So, okay. You have front of house experience, back house experience. So that's kind of cool, man, because I've heard of like guys who work in the kitchen who, will come out and they'll start as like bus boys or food runners, and then they'll work their way up to waiters, bartenders, managers.
Yeah.
I think that's cool, but I don't see very many women doing that, if I'm being very honest.
Mine was just, I don't know, I've always worked for strong women, like the people that like absolutely are the ones in charge of what's going on.
Your managers, owners, both?
Yeah, owners usually. And so it's like, I think that takes down a lot of those barriers of like, she's already in charge. And if she asked me to do this thing, then why wouldn't I do this thing, And like...
Because men and women get treated very differently in the restaurant industry.
Absolutely. And that's why I think like I have gravitated towards those like strong women in ownership roles is like, I know that I'm going to get a fair shake at work, which is cool,
That's kind of cool. You have like a really solid foundation, it feels like.
Yeah.
So you said you had 7 years in Denver and you have 7 years in San Diego?
Yeah.
And you started like, you have kitchen experience, waitress, bartending, managing here in San Diego. Like, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Because a lot of, especially women I see here in the Southern California is, it's a lot of like attractive, cute, not a lot of, but you do see a lot of cute girls who
Yeah.
can barely pour a fucking vodka soda.
Yeah.
And it's like, they don't really, it's like a lot of people get some, not all good looking girls, but a lot of women, some women get hired because of their looks, because they can attract male
Oh,
customers.
I mean,
and stuff.
we live in the part of the country that like it's not weird when you get a headshot on like as a cover letter,
Right.
which is insane. I remember the first time that I saw that was actually back in Denver and got a resume with a headshot on it, and we were like, "What the fuck are you doing?" Like,
it's all LA, Hollywood that are,
Yeah.
and that's totally, I'm not shitting
No.
on those people. Like, a lot of people are in this industry for totally different reasons.
Absolutely.
And I'm not going to judge anybody, but it is cool that like you do have this foundational where you've worked your way up and have this experience, and with the whole thing with being in Southern California, like what was really strange to me when I came out here was driving by the airport. They have this massive billboard for Botox.
Yeah.
It's like, come see me. And it's like, I didn't see those things in
No,
Jersey.
it's insane.
You know what I
No.
mean? And New York City definitely has its, glamour and all that stuff. But it's a culture
totally
shock.
different.
It's a very
Totally
culture
different.
shock coming from the Northeast out here, seeing how everybody is. With that said, I've met some people in this industry who are incredible.
Oh, absolutely.
Who are like top notch, been doing
Yeah.
this for decades. Like, there's a lot of people who have grown up here who are like that, and there's a lot of people who've come from all over the country and all over the world that like who are really hardworking, who are kind of like me. We're like, yo, I want to go. I'm in this industry. I want to go. I could do this anywhere in the country.
Yeah.
And so I want to go to a great city like San Diego. So you meet those people because
Absolutely.
me working at the industry bar, which is how I met you. That's where I meet a lot of these people, is because they all come and hang out and talk to me at the bar and stuff like that. So it's been it's cool, man. It's been cool getting to know you guys. And
Oh, absolutely. I think that's actually that's interesting. Like getting to know people at the bar, I think is such an interesting. That's always that's how I got hooked on bar service. Like I dropped out of college like 6 months after I started bartending because I was like, I'm not gonna go do something that I like more than this,
you have like you had a
Yeah,
you
it was
felt
just
a
like
passion
right
for the
away got
industry.
hooked, got to load it in there. And I think a lot of it for me is like when someone sits at your bar, it doesn't matter anything about their life before that the moment that they sat at the bar. I know so many people that I would never interact with for any other reason other than the fact that they sat at my bar. Like you think about that, like how many different people from just completely, absolutely off the walls, different walks of life, like
So many.
Lawyers, doctors, construction workers, the trash men, everybody, dude, because everybody
Like Wall Street
eventually wants to go
bankers,
sit at the
yeah.
bar, and it's anybody in any walk of life, and anybody can have something cool to say, anybody can have something shitty to say, but most of all, it's like you learn all these things from all these different perspectives, from all these different people, and you wind up with this, like I always joke, like no matter what the situation is, it's like, oh, I got a guy for that.
Right.
Like there's someone that I know that like we're at least on first name basis who can help me out with whatever problem I got. Like I got car mechanics, I got lawyers, I got, there's always somebody that can at least point me in a direction, even if it's not like my particular issue,
Very true. And that's kind of the cool thing about you being here for 7 years. I've kind of always jumped around from city to city. So it's been a little tough. It's been a little tough for me, but I do feel like I'm 2.5 years into this city, and I'm starting to be like, people are coming to me being like, yo, I'm looking for work. And I'm like, oh, this bar's hiring.
Yeah.
Or like, oh, like my car, broke down. Oh, we actually have one of our regulars, a mechanic. Let me introduce you.
Yeah.
And that is what's cool about the pub, is like the networking and like sharing. And, the place that I work, it's a public house, and it's like Stout Public House. And it's like everybody comes, and it's like a conversation at the bar. Yeah. It's not a nightclub. It's not a sports bar. It's not a cocktail bar. It's like, it's chat.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
I feel
it's
like
a place to hang out with people, whether you want to meet people or you don't.
Yeah.
You're going to end up meeting people.
Yeah.
And you're going to end up having a good time.
Yeah, and so where you work at Knotty Barrel, it's a brewery?
Yes, we're a brewery, and then we're listed on the internet as a gastropub.
Okay.
But it's like we've also got the TV support to be a sports bar. We've got our
I feel
sports
like you guys
teams
have
and
a
stuff.
big sports following.
So I'm like, we're a sports bar, but not quite in the way that something like Bub's is, where like that's all of the clientele is all there for sports all the time, We fill a little bit of the niche of also neighborhood bar, but not to the extent as like you guys do. Like we're somewhere in between that like hyper sports bar and neighborhood bar.
Yeah.
Like on average in a day, I'd say 25% of the people that I see live within 3 blocks of our building.
They're regulars.
And
I face their drink.
Yeah, I see them at least once a week, if not more than. There are people that you see 5 days a week, and like, they're just it's part of your work family,
part of your routine. Their routine is coming in. They'll
totally
be there.
Yeah, and that's like I come and see you every Thursday.
Yeah, you get off your shift and you come on in.
Yeah.
We have a lot of that too. So, okay, so that's cool. So you kind of built this foundation in Denver. Your sister was out here, and she goes, "I think I could get you a job." You come out here, and so Knotty Barrel within a week and a half was your first job.
Yeah. So it was funny. So when I got here, I think it was the day that I got here because I drove in at like 1 PM or something from Vegas. As always, the stopping point. And so that day, I went out with my sister, and she was like, "Yo, let's go talk to the people at Knotty Barrel and see what we can do for you." And so I gave them my resume and whatever. And she was like, I was talking to Stephanie, the owner over there, and she was like, "Oh yeah, it's nice to meet you. Your sister told me about you. We're not hiring right now, but like, I'm gonna look and see. I'll let you know if anybody else is hiring around here. I'll ask around for a bit.
Yeah.
But let me hold on to your resume." And so, over the course of the next week, turning in applications, Monday through Friday from 2 to 4, in that like perfect window where like I know what I'm talking about.
After lunch, before dinner.
Yeah, because
that's when you want to apply is when they're not busy, the manager's around.
Yeah, I'm like if somebody comes into the restaurant at Friday night at 8:00 asking for a job, I'm like, you've never done this before,
right? And people, yeah, people do that. Don't do that.
they do that, but yeah, like don't do that. So I'm like shopping around all this stuff. I get a call from Stephanie, and she's like, "Hey, so we've got a position at the brewery next door. We just opened the brewery 8 months ago. We've got a position to just sling beers at the brewery next door. Would you be interested?" And I was like, "Hell yeah, let's go." So I come down, and she pulls out the thing, and she's like, "All right, so this is what it entails. You're going to have to learn about beer and whatever." And I was like, "Thank you so much for this opportunity because of my sister. You trust my sister, but like, I don't think you read anything. Like, if you look at my thing, I did spend a bunch of time working in a brewery. There was a time where I was working 3 jobs back home, and one of them was a brewery. So I was like, I got you. Let's go. I don't care. I got you. Whatever the dude wants to teach me is great, but like, I got a good base. Let's go." So she immediately greenlights me into the brewmaster, and so he comes over to me. I don't see anybody for like 5 minutes. They're talking amongst themselves about how the first half went.
That's what
with
they
her.
do. They make you wait, and that's.
And then he comes out. He walks up to the table and he goes, "Look up at the wall. Any of those beers sound cool? Pick 4 of them." Pours me a flight. Pours himself a flight. Sits down. We shoot the shit for 3 minutes. And yes, please. Shoot the shit for 3 minutes. And then he's like, "All right, well, if you want to come in tomorrow at 3. I was like, "All right, perfect." So like my interview was me having a beer with the people that hired me, which is insane.
That's cool. I think that's probably like, let me sit down with this person, get it. Let me feel them out. Let me just fucking talk to somebody. Let me have this little conversation. Does this person, like, when you've been doing this long enough, not saying that I have, but the guy, like my bosses, you can like analyze people pretty fast.
Oh, absolutely.
Like that's one thing when customers walk through the door, whether it's the beginning of the day or it's 1 a.m., I'm like looking at them. Do they greet me? I'm analyzing their moves.
Oh, absolutely. It's like, the second someone walks into the bar, whether I am going to need a card and I'm going to make sure that it works.
Yeah.
Or not.
Yeah. Whether this person can be a problem or not, it takes very quick.
Yeah.
People who avoid eye contact, for whatever reason, Like, it's one thing if you don't hear me, but like if you're avoiding eye contact, you're gonna be a problem. If you it's the way you walk. It's the way people carry themselves. I look at them like, are they walking angrily? Are they casual? Are they fucked up? Like, are they stumbling into the bar? Are they cross-eyed? You know?
Oh my god, I had a kid last night came in and got those vibes. I was like, he's fucked up, but like, let's talk to him for a second. Let's establish like how fucked up are you? And that's
get him talking. I get him talking.
Yeah, like that's part of the job too. Is like being able to figure out, that, because also that's like a safety thing, it's a liability thing, and all that. Like I don't want somebody to be getting hit by a car stumbling out of the front of the building. That's
it's part of our jobs.
Yeah,
we have to fucking do that. Yeah.
And so dude rolls in. And I'm like, he's pretty fucked up. Let's like, let's chat with him a minute while we're figuring out what he wants to drink. Yeah. I'm listening. Keep going. And he goes with the classic opener of what's the cheapest beer you have? And that's immediate like red flag. All right. Let's keep going. So like I'm like, honestly, probably Bud Light in a can.
What do you guys what's the cheapest beer you guys have at Knotty?
Hams. Hams in a can.
Hams in a can.
Yeah.
What does that go for?
Goes for $6.
$6.
Okay. We're in downtown San Diego.
Is that the one beer that you have for $6?
It's the one beer we got for $6.
Okay. For broke ass motherfuckers.
And it is. So we got that maybe a year ago.
Sorry to Hams in the Can. I didn't want to promote. I've never heard of that brand before. But
HAMM''S.
Hams in a Can.
So when we got it, I think it's like Montana or something. It's some Midwest. It's the shitty beer of the Midwest. Like you've got
that one.
Yeah. So
that one shitty beer in the Midwest.
Yeah. So it's in there with like PBR and like Rainier and Coors and all that.
Careful, man. People in Brooklyn look at that as like fucking. Oh. Anyways.
Yeah, I mean, I'm drinking Coors Light very happily right now. So, but like right after we got it, me and the other lead bartender, he grew up in Wisconsin, and we were like, "Oh, you're bringing on Hams? Can we get this as our shift beer?" And he was like, "Yeah, it costs us pennies on the dollar. Do whatever you want with this." The first week, our first delivery of a 24-pack of Hams, I think we sold 3 of them. And the other 21 Colin and I
shift?
Went to me and Colin. Well, we had our couple, our one shift a day, and then we were just like, "Oh yeah, I don't care. I'll give you money for this beer. Love this beer. Haven't had this beer in ages. Let's go."
All right. Hams. Never heard of that.
Yeah. But so, this guy comes in and he's like, "Oh, wishy-washy." And I'm like, "All right, dude, you know what? I'm sorry. Like, you're a little bit too fucked up. I can't serve you. I'm sorry." And he's like, "Oh, okay, whatever." So he walks off. He goes towards the bathroom. And I'm like, I got 2 options. It's like...
Oh, so he walks into the bar.
He had already walked into the bar. He'd already come and sat down at the bar. And we're having this conversation like where I'm trying to gauge
That's interesting
what his
because
level
normally...
is.
I know, because at that point, we want to get that guy out of the bar. So he goes further into the bar.
So, and that's where we're at. So I'm like, all right. So, like, he's still, like, walking okay. And, like, I'm going to let him go to the bathroom for a minute, like I'll look at my watch. I'll make sure he's not in there for too long. Cause I'm like, at this point, it's Tuesday night. Like just go pee and then hopefully you'll leave,
out. Go pee and
and it's like, that also depends on the person, like you can tell the person that's going to go in there and fucking vomit all over your bathroom, and he didn't have that look. So I was like, pretty sure this dude's just going to go pee and reevaluate his life. Right. And so he ends up walking out. 5 minutes later, he walks back in the front door. And I was like, "Oh, no, dude. You can't be in here." Because at that point, like, we've already had the conversation. He was like, "No, I just want a beer." I was like, "I just kicked you out of this place 5 minutes ago."
This is the same bar.
Yeah. And he looks at me, and, like, his eyes all brighten up, and he's like, "Oh."
That's funny.
And just went back out. And I'm like, you know what? As far as, like, cutting off drunk people that weren't drunk at my bar, drunk... It's a decently solid interaction, that like nothing weird happened, and just watching his face go, "Oh, yeah, okay," and then watching him fuck off.
Snap! He just keeps doing fucking laps, thinking it's gonna work. All right, I have some questions for you.
Yeah.
Okay, what do you try to? So we were just talking about how you do have this sort of like foundation to this industry, and this sort of you've been doing it for 14 plus years.
Yeah.
Like, what's your goals? What are your, like, do you have, what's the next step for Katherine?
I used to think it was opening a bar, but I don't know, to be honest. I don't know. Right now, I've been thinking about it for probably a year or so now, about transitioning over to just the management role.
Okay.
Rather than bartending and managing.
That's what you're doing right now.
Yeah.
Why do you want to lose the bartending?
I'm such a homebody.
The late nights are getting to you.
And it's not even the late nights. It's even like the lunches and things. It's just like talking to people for money is draining.
Feel it, yeah.
And like there are so many people that I'm so invested in and all that stuff. Like I don't know if we've talked about this before, but like that, you get to know people, and then like you care about so many people all the time, and it's just
it's a lot.
I'm a little exhausted right now.
Dude, yeah, burnout is very real.
Yeah.
That sounds like from what your style at Knotty Barrel is and what I do for a living is we're not high volume. We're not just like tourists, like the gas lamp. Like we do see the same people, and you do build relationships with these people. And it does like, there is that professional sense where you want to be professional, but you do build friendships and relationships with some of these people, and it gets heavy. Like,
oh, absolutely.
Part of being the therapist, I think, is you do take on some of these, like you try not to, but like,
you end up getting there anyways.
Like, yeah, you do kind of not take on their problems, but when you have somebody who's coming to see you 2 or 3 times or 4 times a week for years, like you have, it's empathy. It's a normal human interaction.
Absolutely.
To have empathy for these people. And I think that's what we kind of do is we listen to these people. We like try to give advice, and we try to help people if we can. And
or
it
just
does,
be an ear.
We do want to listen, but it's a little tolling, I think, when it's so much, and that's how you do get burnt out. I mean, so I know what you mean.
Yeah.
And even if it's like, there are some customers who you love and there's some customers who we don't love, and balancing all of that, it gets tiring. So I feel you.
Yeah, that's like, I think like you can kind of put like your regulars into like a few different categories. Like you got your regulars that it's like, we might actually hang out outside of the bar sometimes, and whatever that hangout means is like, I got off work and, I run into you at the bar, or like you send me a text about something that we were talking about the other day, or, actually making plans to go and hang out with someone. You got those regulars that are like, those are like actually your friends,
Right.
And then you've got like, I think just below that is the people that I know that I'm your friend, and I know that you're my friend, but I can't see myself hanging out with you outside of the bar that I'm working at,
It's totally fine.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with that.
No.
Yeah.
But I think it's interesting, like all the different tiers of people that you hang out with.
Well, I think with alcohol, there is that line of like, everyone's drinking and loosening up, and that's what we do, is we kind of build relationships with people and stuff like that. And sometimes lines get blurred.
Absolutely.
And that's why like it's really important to like stay professional.
Yeah.
And like sometimes if you've had a couple shots, sometimes things get said. And,
totally.
Yeah, and that's why it's like I really try to listen.
Oh,
because I have people on all different like angles, walks of life, political views, and like I say one little thing and it changes the whole way that person thinks of me, my job, the way they spend money. Do they want to come in? So like that is what I've learned, is to just listen. And like I say this almost every fucking episode, is I get paid to listen, not to talk.
That's like my Facebook page is not a place for me to say anything anymore, because I have enough regulars from enough time that it is like, these people don't need to know my opinions on stuff because like I'm friends with people across all kinds of spectrums of whatever, and I want to keep seeing you. I want to keep hanging out with you, and I don't need you to know all these other things. Like and so it's like that platform has become more of like the this is where I promote my shifts and like, things like that.
It's professional.
Yeah,
so what we're talking about is professionality in the hospitality industry.
Yeah, which is crazy.
Which no, it's an interesting point. Look what I'm doing right here.
Yeah.
I'm like crossing so many lines, and it's like I'm trying to navigate that. It's challenging.
Oh, totally.
Like what you're talking about at Facebook, like I'm literally bringing in regulars into my fucking home and
Dude,
being like, tell me about your thoughts and ideas.
I was thinking about that earlier, and I was like, man, the balls on this guy to reach out to like regulars and be like, hey, you want to just like hang out at my house for 2 hours? Like I can't think of a single regular of mine that I'd be like, hey, you want to just come chat at my house for 2 hours? I'll buy the beer. You want to come hang out at my house? Like, that's insane. I was thinking about that on my drive over here, that I was like, good on you. You're a stronger person than I am. Like, I have nothing to lose in this. Like, you texted me a couple weeks ago and you're like, hey, where do you want to do this? You want to do this? Like, where would you be comfortable? Like, my house, your house, like a bar? What do you want to do? And I was like, not my fucking house. Well,
you're the first person. Yeah. So there's a couple things to that. For a couple things. You're right. The first thing is it does show the level of, okay, the negative is I'm supposed to be professional and I got to I think maybe I have blurred lines a little bit with some of the customers, but okay, that's a negative. In the positive, it does show that the bar that I work for, we have a great group. We have a great foundation of customers and people that come through the door where I feel comfortable and confident enough to say, hey man, I would like to cross that line a little bit.
Yeah.
Because they're because it can go south so fast. And we are providing a service as bartenders and people who work in restaurants. We provide a service for people. And I think I like to think of it as, yo, man, you guys you're a good person. I wouldn't invite you over here if I thought you were shitty.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I do recognize and see that, oh, wow, man, I try to look for the good in people.
Yeah.
And I see the value in people. And I'm like, oh, man, it would be cool to have a little bit more of a deeper conversation with some people.
Yeah.
And I think the pub is not necessarily the best place to do it.
Well, it's hard for at the pub to have those deeper conversations because we talked about this before. You can be at the start of a great conversation, but then it's you're still at work.
Ticket.
You got to do other shit, Yep. And I get that's not really the place that if you are the person working, if you're the person that works at this place, that's not the place to have those conversations.
Right. That's a place for the customers to do it themselves.
Yes, but it's not the place for you as the employee of the establishment to have those conversations.
It's interesting. I've never heard anybody say, it's absolutely right. But I always feel my perspective as somebody who works, I feel like that's what people want.
Oh, absolutely.
But so it's almost you want it? Okay.
But see, that's the thing, is that people want it and you're good at your job, so you're able to give them just enough to satisfy that and then turn around and go do your job.
Interesting.
Where, I think that's one of the things that makes a good... All of the bartenders that I know that have, a solid group of regulars that enjoy them and are happy to see that they're working are all able to do that thing where you're able to have 30-second, 2-minute conversations with people and have them be actually meaningful conversations, but then be able to move on and go do the rest of your job.
Multitask.
And, that's different than, we're going to sit here and have... But that doesn't downplay those conversations because you're good at having those 30-second, actual conversations. It doesn't
elevator pitch is what they call it.
It doesn't feel like I'm walking into the bar hey, how's the weather? It doesn't feel like it doesn't feel like small talk.
Yeah.
Cuz you remember things that we've talked about in the past. It's an actual conversation. It's always a furthering of our relationship as friends. It's always a furthering of that. You know, we're always, even though it's in little 30-second segments, it's always something that actually matters,
Well, it shows people who care.
Yeah.
Whether it's me or my coworkers, Adrian,
Yeah.
Mark, Dave, Eileen, Brian. I think that for me being in this industry, there's so many like pathways for hospitality, bartending, bars, restaurants, whatever you want to call it, hotels. I meet so many people who are focused on the product of the cocktails, of the drink. They know ins and outs, depths of spirits and all these things and how to pair. I have always been drawn to the people, and I always thought that like the relationship with the customer was more valuable than the product.
So to me, I would agree with that. So I think that like in the sense of like the bar, I think product to me is like 20% of it, maybe.
So it depends on what kind of place we're talking about. You and me
Yes,
work in a more
absolutely.
similar place.
Absolutely.
I'm
Where
talking about
it's a little bit more
right.
casual, you
Right.
know?
Right.
Like if I'm gonna go spend $300 on a dinner, then the product better be absolutely incredible, you know?
Right. $300 conversation is like, what?
Yeah.
You fucking give me a little hand job with that shit? Like,
Yeah, right. Absolutely. But no, so like that's like where we are is like, like me and the other lead bartender, we're the ones we do twice a year. We do the cocktail list, the two of us. So actually, we're supposed to meet up and do that here within the next month or so because we do a spring, summer, and then a fall, winter.
You create the cocktails?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's fucking
so
cool.
basically, we go and meet up at a bar and pitch our ideas to each other of things that we've thought about. Over the last few months, things we've seen on the internet, whatever, things that seem popular, things that we want to try, things like that. And then we'll go fuck off and go get whatever ingredients we don't have at the bar. And then we'll go back to work and just make cocktails for ourselves. And whoever is working, I apologize every time. And we're like, hey, sorry, we're going to be in your space. We're going to be working on cocktails. And just leave us alone. Sorry.
Give us a well and fuck off.
Yeah. So it's always like, going on like Tuesday, something that's like, it's not busy. We're not really that much in the way, but not that much in the way.
How many wells do you guys, do you use the back bar, the front bar, both? Like, what does it actually look like?
Preferably, so the best time for us to do this is usually like a Sunday night.
Okay.
Because that's like, then we can go use the back bar, and especially like a Sunday night where like there's no baseball, because we're so close to the stadium.
Yeah.
That it's like, no matter what, we're going to get busy on a baseball day. So like that Sunday afternoon with no baseball is the best time to do it, because then we can kind of take over the back bar a little bit, and then we're like not as much in the way.
Mm-hmm. Hold on one second. I'm gonna get a beer. Do you need anything?
I'll take another beer.
So is there anything that you want to get out of this podcast? Like what is on your mind? Like what is, like, I have a ton of questions. So many questions we're not gonna be able to get to, but like,
bring it on.
Well, I mean,
no, I have nothing that I want to get. I thought that this would be fun.
Okay.
Well, so for me, it's so funny. It always comes back to like the, support the homies, like you were talking about this podcast to me a year and a half ago.
Was I?
Yeah. And I was like, fuck yeah, you should do it. That sounds cool.
Huh.
And, eventually here you are actually doing it.
Yeah.
And like, I've always been, I don't know, I grew up playing punk music. It's always been support the homies, always and forever. You always show up to everybody's shows. It doesn't matter if their show is great, if it sucks, whatever. You support the homies. You always go and hang out with people, and then offer constructive criticism if anybody needs it. But so you were talking to me about this podcast, of at least a year ago.
See, I don't even remember that, but that's interesting.
It was like when it was a little twinkle in your eye.
Well, yeah.
So what I wanted to get out of this was, I was like, I thought that sounded cool, because I hadn't heard of somebody doing something like this before. And so I thought it sounded cool. And so that's what I wanted to get out of it, was I wanted to listen to it. And then when you were like, hey, do you want to be on? And I was like, well, yeah, obviously. I want to go hang out with my friend and like do a thing with my friend,
Yeah,
yeah.
I think one of the reasons why we connected a little bit, I don't know, you seemed intrigued.
Yeah.
But like, you're also somebody, like, what I learned about you recently is you're a bartender, you have your tenure, you've been doing it longer than me, but you were an art student for a little bit?
I did.
Very short amount of time?
Yeah, so I did a semester at film school, Because so I grew up the way that I've played music my entire life. Like
What kind of instruments?
So my mom wanted us to learn how to play music. So grew up taking piano lessons, and I always wanted to play the bass, which is such a dumb instrument to want to play. But that turned into, as I became a teenager, like, well, the guitar is cooler than the bass, right? It's the same thing, just cool. So
I don't know, man. There's some cool fucking bands with great bass, like the Red Hot Chili Peppers bass is like fucking unreal.
I know that now as an adult.
Okay.
But as like a 12-year-old kid, you're like, no, the guitarists are the cool ones. Like,
got you.
You know, Slash, Jimmy Page, and shit like that. Like, no, those are the cool ones. Come on.
Okay.
Yeah, right. So, I had taken piano lessons forever, and I finally did enough time that my parents were like, all right, you can quit piano lessons, and they saved up all year so they could buy me a little guitar pack. So it came with an electric guitar, this tiny little shit-ass amp, and got it for me for Christmas for just before so it was a combo birthday. My birthday's in January, so it was a combo birthday Christmas present, right?
How old were you?
13.
Nice.
13. But
probably like 7th, 8th grade?
I have no... I grew up homeschooled. I have no idea. Whatever
wow.
that means. Oh, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Up through graduation high school?
Oh, yeah.
Stop fucking playing.
Yeah.
See,
I'm
now...
I'm not that weird, right?
I don't think you're fucking... I mean, I don't think people who are weird, but like, I'm learning that you're painting a picture of who you are now. You know, you're the bartender.
All the little background stuff.
So you're homeschooled.
Yeah.
And then you went to restaurant work. Okay, interesting. Yeah. I don't know. Does that like... I keep getting so off fucking topic. I want to keep talking about the instruments. But like, does that affect, like, do you feel different homeschooled? Was that something that
I think there are some things that I missed out on.
Just for the record, I went to 4 different schools from 1st grade to 12th grade. So I bounced around.
Yeah.
So different.
So
that's different than homeschool.
So neither of us had friends.
I had like so many friends, but like I wasn't close with any of them because I was kept moving friends around.
Yeah. So, and it was funny. So I think I mentioned earlier, like, I've always been like a homebody, and I think that was like my sister went to real school. After a few years of homeschooling, my sister went to real school, and my mom used to ask me every summer, like towards the end of summer, she'd be like, "Hey, like, enrollment's coming up.
How
Do
much
you want to go
older
to
was
real
your
school?"
sister?
She's 4 years younger than me.
Oh, so you were homeschooled, and then they put your younger sister was out here. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah. But every year, towards the end of summer, my mom would be like, "Hey, sign-ups for real school. You want to go have friends?" I'd be like, "Fuck no."
Oh, really?
I want to wake up late. I want to stay in my room. I want to hang out by myself and read my books. And that's been my entire life. It's just like, I just want to chill and hang out. And then one day, I started working at a restaurant, and I was like, oh, this is a great way to meet people. This is great. I love talking to people at this level of not having them in my home, but being able to learn about their lives and things like that, you know?
It's like very similar to what we're doing right now, except you're in my home, but...
Yeah, well, absolutely.
So you don't, like, socially, you're not, like, strange socially. I feel like you're very, like, maybe it's just from working at bars. That's how...
I don't know how I missed that, because, like, I'm not friends with any of the people that I was friends with back then, because they're all weird.
Was it tough to meet friends being homeschooled? Like, did you play sports or do any after-school activities?
So it was interesting. So, like, coming up, like, my mom actually started a group for homeschooled families so that kids could have friends, you know?
This was in Colorado. How far from Denver?
We were about 20 minutes south, like 10 miles.
Okay. And was the public schools bad, or was she like...
No, it was just, I grew up in a religious family. And
oh, what religion?
Evangelical Christian.
Okay.
So, so I think that it stemmed from that, but, you know, I don't know. I wasn't there when they made the decision to homeschool us.
Interesting.
You know, I mean, I was there, but I wasn't part of that conversation.
Yeah.
And, you know, my mom asked me every year if I wanted to go to real school. And it just wasn't for me. I don't know.
So you go through homeschool. Did you have any boyfriend or girlfriends growing up or anything, or?
So the way that it ended up working was during grade school we found we had this thing that my mom set up for families with homeschooled kids to like meet, and we would usually do like something once a month, you know, and everybody would meet and hang out. And then we found some other programs for like homeschooled kids also. So like during grade school, I had a school in quotation marks that I would go to on Fridays, and it was all the cool classes, you know. So it was like the science class where you're like, they had
volcano of fucking
because people were paying tuition, then it was like you could get the frogs to dissect and stuff like that, or like, you know, the art class, and you have all the cool art supplies and things like that. It was that. So there was always, throughout all of it, there was always like opportunity for me to hang out with people.
Okay.
And then my first relationship was in, it would have been, you know, relationship in quotes because you're so young. You know, I was 13 and I was in a theater program so my mom was part of a theater program that started out here for Christian kids, and they started one out in Colorado. And so that's where I made the majority of my friends in that like middle school age range.
Through Christian theater camp, middle school.
Basically.
Huh.
Yeah.
So that's how you got in sort of the arts sort of mindset. Okay.
Yeah. And that's where I met my first couple, you know, flings and whatever. Like, you know, you're 13, 14. Like, are they relationships, or are they just figuring it out, you know? I
had a more real question. I was going to say, like, what age, when did you get laid, or something? I don't know. Like, what,
17.
Like, okay, so 17, like, so you start meeting guys. That's what I meant. Like, were you somebody, that's what I really wanted to ask you.
Yeah.
Was like, being homeschooled, did you hook up with people? You know, was it that's so, because that's what goes into my mind.
Yeah.
Because like when I'm growing up in middle school and high school, people are starting to fucking finger fuck and like do shit like that.
It's
like,
so funny. So that's like my entire life, I've been the one that will make out with anybody. I don't give a shit. Also, like, it helps that I'm like, I play for both teams.
Okay.
So like,
nice.
So
switch
like,
header.
Yeah. So like, whatever. You know, I'll make out with anybody. I've made
Yeah.
out with so many of my friends. It's unreal. You know.
Yeah, so that's where my was like, homeschooled. How does sex work? No, like how does meeting people with like, because
no. So finally did the deed. So it's funny. So like, I don't know how. To be honest, I don't know how I got into like going to shows and wanting to like play in a band and stuff like that. I think that was just like, my dad's really into music. You know, he can't play a lick of it. His joke has always been that he can play the radio, you know, but he's always been, so like I grew up listening to a bunch of music, and I don't know why I started going to shows, but that's where I like kind of really started like meeting people and understanding like different walks of life, you know?
Oh, from bands and stuff.
Yeah.
I can only imagine in Denver what the music scene's like out there.
Oh, it was nuts. This was like mid 2000s.
Okay, we're talking like,
yeah, because we're the same age.
We are. You're 32.
33.
Okay, I turned 33 in a couple months, in like 3 weeks. But okay, so homeschooled, leaves home, finger fucks at 17.
Absolutely, in the parking lot of a music venue. With
pre-show, post-show, intermission.
No, during the show, because that was get all the friends inside, and then we fucked off back out to my mom's car. Sorry, Mom, my mom's gonna listen to this.
What kind of car are we talking? A Honda Civic? Or are we talking SUV?
Oh, a Suburban, absolutely.
Okay, nice, nice,
big
nice,
ass car,
nice.
right? Yeah, no.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, okay, nice. Okay, so you were able to like have normal, you know, intimate relationships.
Well, I don't know about normal. I mean, the whole reason that I slept with this person was out of spite, because her best friend was, we had like this weird like dynamic for years.
Okay.
Of like always wanting to date each other. You know, it's high school bullshit. So you're like always wanting to date each other, but you're always,
nobody has the confidence to do it. Like,
nobody has the confidence, and like
yeah.
you're always in a relationship with somebody else. You know, and whatever.
Oh, okay.
And so
the timing match up. You both are single, or did somebody steal one from another?
No, I fucked her best friend in my mom's car.
Oh, That's the person you slept with.
That's how I lost my virginity, was fucking someone's best
girl
friend.
you liked, you fucked her best friend. No.
Yeah.
Wait. Oh, so you like somebody and you go, oh.
Yeah, and like
shit.
I'm a vindictive fuck apparently, you know.
Fuck yeah, me too. I love that shit.
Yeah. So like
That's cool, dude.
So my perception of sex apparently has always been warped.
Comes
I was
from
like,
revenge.
Yeah, absolutely.
But
The first time was because fuck you. That's why.
That's so funny. The reason I think I'm asking, I appreciate you sharing these things because there will be people that do connect with that.
Yeah. Totally.
Everybody has. It's Southern California.
What's up,
dude.
Mom?
It's Southern California, man. Everyone is so. It's like so strange down here and stuff like that. Like, I don't know, but all right.
Yeah,
All right.
absolutely wild.
Not really though. No, that's not that wild.
No, I mean like Southern California and like all of that.
Yeah, well, it's there's the New York this. It's the same shit in New York City, man. All the bartenders are doing the same shit too. All these major cities. Well, I guess New York City and Southern in California, New York and California are kind of similar in those ways. But fuck. All right.
Yeah, Denver was very much the. Found out at about 17 that everyone everywhere already knew each other.
Okay.
So it's only recently become like a major city.
Denver?
Yeah.
Really?
Like it was always the airline hub and all that, and like it was.
But you have the Colorado mountain. You have the mountains.
Yeah,
you have
but
the
it was always the gateway between places and the place where tourists would come and then they would fuck off. You know.
Oh right.
But
Yeah,
like the actual people that live there.
Yeah.
I would have been midway through high school. I would have been 16 or so when business started moving to Denver. When people realized that, like, oh, it's kind of in the middle and rent's cheaper for a big ass office building than it is in like Chicago, where your flight times for all the business people is the same as it is in Chicago, just reversed. So it's like it's faster to get to the West Coast. A little bit longer to get to the East Coast, where Chicago is opposite. But it's essentially the same over there. And so it became a big business hub.
Okay, interesting.
When I was like 16. But like up until that point, and then like, through those first few years, it was like anywhere you go.
Yeah.
A third of the people, anywhere that you go, you have some sort of connection to. It was like small town vibes in a city with skyscrapers.
Now it's so different.
It's mini LA, man. It's just moving sideways.
Yeah.
It's insane.
My sister was there for 10 years. She kind of did what you're talking about. She's one of those people.
Yeah.
She moved there and then 10 years later. All right. Okay.
Yeah, what else you got for me?
I mean, I like the talk. I mean, the fact that's funny. You hooking up with the chick out of revenge. I love that shit, bro. I love revenge shit like that.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm so petty like that.
Yeah. That's why I'm in a kind and loving relationship right now.
Are you really?
Oh no, absolutely not.
Oh.
That was a joke.
I was like,
that was a
good
joke.
for you.
No,
I'm not. What is love like? Tell me, please.
I don't know.
Yeah, dude, I've been fucking slam dunked on by a few chicks out here.
Yeah.
Yeah, they go. What's weird about being in a bar? I don't know if you're a female, even though what's nice about us. You're lesbian, you're bisexual or whatever. I love chicks.
Yeah,
we go for the same kinds, so we can relate on it. But it's almost like we're not in competition because our targets don't necessarily like. It's like our targets.
No, absolutely.
You know what I mean? It's like different.
We can find the same people attractive.
Same, but different.
Yeah,
different.
same, but different. Yeah, we're gonna find the same people attractive potentially because I know that like
we can hunt together.
Yeah, you're also hunt is such a fucked up word for that. But yes, we're like we can find the same people attractive. Like I feel like we're kind of into the same things of like.
Yeah, but you and me can go out and try to pick up chicks together.
Oh, absolutely. I'll fucking wingman for you any day. Let's fucking go.
All right. Yeah. No, that's why. Can I tell you something?
Yeah.
I have a thing where I like trying to turn a lesbian. I love doing it.
Interesting.
Like, I'm not. I know this isn't like.
You must have a fast tongue.
This isn't a pickup line. This is not. I'm not talking about that. But like,
no, trust me. If you were gonna hit on me, it would have happened years ago. I think we're beyond that. I think we're in the very much in the friend portion of our lives.
For something about girls who say no, I'm not into that. I'm like, oh really? Oh, okay, yeah, we'll find out.
Yeah, we'll find out.
So it's happened twice where I've succeeded.
See, and I've done a lot of the other way of like, you're telling me that you're straight, but like, come on, try it. You know?
Yeah, we see a lot of that.
Yeah.
Come
on, try it.
All right. Speaking of chicks, dude, some of the things. What do you think about? This is so off topic. Are you a sports fan?
I love hockey.
Okay, you're a hockey fan. Do you know who Bill Belichick is?
Yes, I do. I have had to learn so much about football because we live in America, and I work with people. I have to know about football.
Okay.
So yes, I do know who Bill Belichick is. Are you going to talk to me about it? Well, also like if it's like a controversy on Twitter, then definitely also I'm in.
No.
So like, is this him fucking that like 17-year-old girl or not? She's like 27, whatever. Yeah,
no, I think she's 24. What do you think about that? Like, is that?
I think that she is getting the time of her life. They both know why they are in that relationship.
So for the record, just for the people listening, Bill Belichick, former coach of the New England Patriots, as a head coach, 6 Super Bowls, 8 total Super Bowls, 2 with the defensive coordinator for the New York Giants. Retired, Brady left, wins a Super Bowl with Tampa. He has a couple years with the Patriots. They suck. Robert Kraft fires him. Boom. Sports caught up. He's in his 70s, and he's dating a girl he met on a flight who was in college at the time, who was in her 22. She's now like 24. I think she might be 23, 24, 25. He's in his 70s. There's like a 50-year gap. Do you think that's weird?
So I think...
Tell me, what are your thoughts? That's what I want to know.
A, yes, absolutely, it's weird. But B,
how so?
But B is more important here, is that they both know what they're in that for.
Okay, yeah. So why is it weird?
So he's in it because he's sleeping with a fucking hot ass 23-year-old.
Dude, she's so hot.
Which, like, by the way, is also like I'm weird with relationships on that way where like I will never ever again date a woman who is younger than me, and I will never ever again date a man who is younger than 10 years older than me. It's not happening. Anyways, but back to this. So he's into it because obviously, like, he's fucking a hot 23-year-old. She's into it because of the experiences. A guy with that much money and that much clout.
We don't know that.
No, absolutely. Absolutely.
When you look at him and you look at her, you're like,
you think either of them are in love?
He looks like this fucking pillow right here, dude. This is his body, okay?
Yeah. And that's fine when every day you get to have the greatest experience of your life. And then, he's in his fucking 70s looking like this shit. You don't even have to fuck him every day anymore.
The funniest thing is there was some quote about him helping her with her homework on a plane, which is pretty fucking funny. Like the fact that he says he's a grandfather. He's talking about, anyways. Here's my argument. I think it's more weird that what she's doing than what he's doing. I think it's more strange for a chick in your early to mid 20s to want to go after a fucking 70-year-old than it is for a 70-year-old retired guy after a full life of ups and downs, cheating scandals, millions of dollars, Super Bowl rings, Super Bowl losses, to be like, I kind of just want to fuck a hot chick and die. Like, the weirdness is not on Bill; it's on the female.
So
just saying,
okay.
Bro.
So you said like the weirdness is that she went after this. No fucking way. She got approached and saw that opportunity.
No, apparently they were sitting next to each other on a plane. That's how they met.
Yeah,
allegedly.
And she is way smarter than any of the rest of us because she said, "All right, how long can I fuck this guy to have a great time?"
She was a smart, educated, beautiful woman. She could have done that without fucking him.
No, but she's smart as shit. So she gets to go and have the time of her life and occasionally fuck this guy, a few times a week, whatever, and have a great fucking time. She gets to experience things that a very, very small portion of humanity can experience.
They're not going to Europe every week. He's not that rich.
He's rich enough.
Yeah, but he's not that's not.
Motherfucker's got boats and shit, dude.
He has a boat that's not much bigger than my motorcycle.
It's bigger than my boat. I'll tell you that much right now.
No, but I just think that anyways, I just want to hear your thoughts. So thank you for sharing.
My thoughts are good for her. Have fun. Go experience some things that you wouldn't experience otherwise.
Yeah.
Because it's not even the material things, it's the connections. And she gets to meet a bunch of cool fucking people. Everybody in America knows who Bill Belichick is. I give damn near zero fucks about football. I know who Bill Belichick is. Right? Like, that man knows a lot of people and can do a lot of cool shit.
We talked earlier about networking, or I don't know, maybe we didn't, but
we can talk about networking if you want.
Yeah. So, okay. Okay, speaking of dating, do you ever date coworkers?
Yes.
How has that gone?
I haven't in 10 years.
Okay, so not since.
So that's how that's
you're
gone.
Not, okay, so you're not doing that.
No, I have grown old enough to not be that stupid anymore.
I was about to say something. Okay, I'm not. Okay, good for you.
I've made out with coworkers, but platonically. You know.
Okay.
Fun stuff while you're drunk.
Okay, you told me one thing behind the bar, and I can always edit this out if you don't feel comfortable talking about it. Just tell me, I have editing power. You said you dated a hooker once.
I didn't say hooker. I said sex worker. For the record.
Okay.
Because I very much respect her lifestyle choices.
Okay.
But
do you want to elaborate
on
this story?
Or
we don't have to talk about it.
That wasn't a question. That was a statement. You said you've dated a hooker, and I refuted that statement and said I dated a sex worker.
Okay, let me pull back. Not to be disrespectful. What is the story with the sex worker?
She was.
I can take this out, but go on.
She was a regular at the bar.
Which bar?
Knotty.
Okay.
And I don't know. We hit it off, and she has to hang out, and I was like, "All right, cool, yeah, let's go." Like, and oh my god, dating women is so weird because it's like,
yeah.
Well, like as a woman, it's weird dating women because it's like, is this a date or are we just hanging out?
Ooh, are we bros or are we fucking? Are we watching football or are we like watching football and making out?
Yeah, like
yeah.
And it's so funny. It's like actually something that, yeah, we're all bad at that because it's like, women are generally nice to each other, which is great. So I'm like, all right, if it's a date, cool. Oh. She's pretty. She seems nice. Let's go.
So she asked you to hang out.
Yeah.
Okay.
If it's not a date, then I don't know. Cool. Whatever. That's fine. I'll go hang out. I have no problem with that.
Yeah.
So we end up going on this date. Now, the way that lesbian dates go is we went to a restaurant and we ended up being there for 3.5 hours.
What restaurant?
Oh god, it's the
what kind of restaurant?
It's the vegan restaurant up in North Park.
Oh, that one vegan restaurant.
Yeah, fuck you. No. Oh my god, it's the metal bar, the metal vegan bar. Yeah. See, you know what I'm talking about.
That's where I went when I got my fucking DUI.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. See?
Yeah, it's called.
It starts with an F. I feel like
it's
I
like
know you're talking
one
about.
word. I haven't been back there because last time I went there, I got arrested. But go on, continue.
Yeah, that's a valid reason to not go to a place again.
We've had two memorable experiences from that place.
So at this point in time, the reason that we went there was I was vegetarian at the time. I've since given that up because chicken wings, honestly. Like I went vegetarian because like meat upsets my stomach, but like chicken wings are so good that it's worth it, And here we are. So the way that girl dates work is that we ended up hanging out at this fucking restaurant for 3.5 hours.
That one is okay. Yeah.
Like delving into like.
Oh, are you drinking the whole time?
Oh, absolutely. We're drinking old fashions that were not terrible. Having a great fucking time, right? So this ends up being like 3.5 hours.
Okay.
So the way the date ends, so this is where I fucked up.
Okay.
Is she lived in the building next door to the bar that I work at.
Okay.
Like the don't shit where you eat?
She's a regular at your bar.
Not only a regular at my bar, but she lives next to my bar.
Dude.
So, like, don't shit where you eat. Like, it wasn't technically shitting where I ate, but it was right next to it.
The thing is, when you work at a bar and you hook up with a customer, it's so different than when you're out at a bar and you hook up with somebody, you just
Yeah.
don't go back to that bar. But when you do it at your job, you can't fucking run.
That's why now I only hook up with people that are from out of town.
Well, that's your rule. Okay, but go on. Continue with the story.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
So anyways, so we end up like, she invites me back to her place, and I'm like, oh. So we've been talking to each other for 3.5 hours at this point. She invites me back to her place,
You
and I'm
gotta
like,
know there's something there.
and I'm like,
you know?
oh, this was a date. That's the moment. 3.5 hours in, when she
Really?
invites me back to her house. I'm like, oh, this was a date, because I'm a fucking moron.
Okay.
I was homeschooled. I didn't talk to very many people growing
Your
up.
social skills.
Yeah.
Still working on them.
Yeah. So I'm like, all right, cool. So we go back, we park at her place, and she's like,
Right next to your job.
right next to my job. And she's like, hey, so this was fun, but like, let's go get a shot real quick.
At your job.
At my job.
Yeah, I've heard that one before.
Yeah. And
Oh.
I'm like, all right, dope. I get a discount. Let's fucking roll. Also,
Who's behind the bar?
I do not remember.
Okay.
But it was like, also like, dope. I get a discount, and like, I'm coming in here with a fucking hot chick. Let's go.
Let's
like,
go.
I'm down with this.
See this, bitch?
Yeah. Whoever's working, fuck you. This is what I'm doing tonight, right? And yeah. So like, we get in there, we take a shot, go up to her apartment. Shot didn't go well. So immediately,
What does that mean? Somebody's puking?
immediately, I'm holding her hair back while she's puking.
Oh.
Right?
Is she tiny? Is she?
No,
Because tiny chicks can't hold her. Like,
no, not tiny. Just like, I don't know. She's like 5'6",
Okay.
average human being with
Okay.
yeah. Anyways, so yeah, so like this is going on, and like at this point, I'm like, I'm along for the ride, man. You know, like
Okay.
yeah, like I'm.
So what happened after? She's puking in the trash can.
Puking in the trash can.
Yeah.
I'm holding her hair back
Yeah,
and all
yeah.
that, and like, whatever. I ended up staying the night at her house. We don't end up like fucking her or anything, but like, I end up staying the night at her house.
Okay.
Because obviously, like, nobody wants to fuck after they've just puked. You know, like,
You'd be surprised. No.
nobody really wants that. They'll do it to get out of a bad situation. You know, that's the apology. I'm sorry that I threw up in your bathroom. Can I blow you to make up for it? That's what that is.
Is that what girls think?
Yeah, that's absolutely. It's similar to the if I just blow you, can I go back to sleep? It's the same thing. It's the same thing.
I'm learning.
What is less effort? Me trying to get you the fuck off of me for the next hour and a half, or me just blowing you for 10 minutes and having you fuck off anyways?
All right. So hold on. So this story. All right.
Yeah.
So okay, you wake up and how?
Yeah.
All right. So hold on. You're dating her, or you weren't dating her?
Yeah.
Like,
So and that turned into just like, I don't know. We had a good time. We had good conversations. So I ended up dating her.
there's nothing wrong with that.
No, found out a couple weeks later through, you know, like we were talking about stuff and whatever, and found out a couple weeks later that like 'cause that apartment complex is like definitely too rich for my blood.
Okay.
It's not
Oh,
like
so she has money coming
yeah,
in.
it's like not one of the nice ones, but whatever.
Yeah.
But also I'm not going to be like, what do you do? You know? Like
she never told you after you dated
well,
her?
it was just like in the conversation.
That's normally like first date kind of shit, you know?
And it came up of like normal stuff, like she did some computer stuff and whatever, and like worked for a company, and then it was like after a few weeks, and I'm like, you have this job, but you only go there like 2 hours a week, and like that's where you like clock in and do your tax stuff, and they technically pay you for it. And she was like, well, so actually my real job is blank.
Is what?
Is she was a sex worker. She
Okay.
had
Is that how how did she say it? Like, what were the words?
that I don't remember.
okay.
That I don't remember, but it was like very much like, yeah, like that.
Do you want me to put this in the podcast, or do you want me to cut this?
I haven't decided yet.
Okay, well, I'll let you know afterwards.
Yeah.
Okay, it's okay. It's
Yeah.
okay. I could edit it out or keep it in. Anyways, okay. So how long did you date her for?
I ended up dating her for 3 months.
Okay, so it was a fling.
It was a
cute
fling.
little fling.
There was at the beginning I was super into it.
Okay.
You know? So my problem with this in general is it's like every time I'm in a relationship again, I realize that I'm the problem.
Whoa,
And it's not that I'm like
whoa.
It's not that
why
I'm
do
an-
you say that? Why do you say
No,
that?
it's not that I'm an asshole. It's not that like whatever. It's that I would rather take a nap than talk to another human being.
Well, you're not taking a nap right now.
Yeah, but I took a nap before I got here. I had the option of painting my nails and like shaving my legs and looking nice for this podcast, or taking a nap.
Bro, you look fucking nice right now. Cheers.
Cheers.
Come on. What are you talking about? Appreciate you.
Yeah, but I was gonna look cute, and now I just look like I always do.
I'm sorry that I put you in an inferno, in a hot box, in an oven, and caused you to fucking... No, I'm just kidding. No, you look fine. What do you mean?
You know, I was like, oh, I have like some nice dresses I can wear. I was gonna like do it up a little bit.
We can do this again, because
Oh,
I'd
no.
like to have you on again.
No, see, because here was the thing: is I was thinking about it. Is I was like, A, I want to take a nap instead of doing all that work, and then B, this is who I am, and I don't give a shit.
Dude, that's how my mindset goes. Like, I'm in fucking joggers,
Yeah.
a fucking
Like
t-shirt I've
at
had for
the
10
end
years,
of the day,
sandals.
I don't give a shit.
But it's not about not giving a shit. It's just like, yo, I feel like
I'm like, this is-
what we're
this
talking
is
about
what-
Southern California, like there's so much fake shit down here. This is who we are.
Yeah,
That's what I want this platform to be, is people to feel comfortable to be who they are.
And that was like, I was thinking about it as I was getting ready today, and I was like, Taylor doesn't give a shit.
I don't give a fuck, dude.
A, Taylor doesn't give a shit. So
No.
there's that. And then B, it's like, why would I give a shit when like all of my real friends know me as the one that no matter what the temperature is outside, I am in pants and a fucking hoodie
Fuck it.
forever.
Yeah.
You know, that's
Whatever
where
makes
I'm
you
at.
feel comfortable.
I just
dude.
have 75 different weights of hoodies for how hot it is outside.
I thought it's so funny. I thought that I was like, as long as somebody comes in with a t-shirt on, that's fine. I don't give a fuck if you wear a wife beater or fucking bathing suit or whatever it is.
Just don't be naked.
Yeah, don't be naked.
Yeah.
I gotta put this on YouTube.
Yeah,
but
right.
like, nah, man. I mean, that's like the whole. I want you and myself. Like, and everyone who listens, comfortability. There's so much.
And that's it too. Was I was like, I'm just gonna be way more comfortable if I just fucking show up like this.
Yeah, well,
You know?
I'm glad you did.
I have been getting into putting lipstick on every day though.
Dude, we could do this
So, you
again.
know?
Dude, my goal for this is to be like, go into bars and record this shit like with an audience.
That would be fun.
People, I've done this at a bar before, not with but there was other people drinking, not with anybody watching us specifically, but like, think about how cool that would be. You're entertainment.
funny.
Like,
So,
that's
like-
what we do as bartenders. We entertain people. It's like, you and me sitting here, you're like, yeah, dude, she said she was a sex worker, not a hooker. And it's like,
Yeah.
you know?
It's so funny because so like my like I said, like I grew up like playing music and things. Like the first thing that I thought of when you said that was I was like, well, what are we going to do about the audio? Because we got to make sure that all the people there are listening to it, but we also got to record it. So we got to project it into the bar, but then at the same time, we got to worry about feedback. Like, dude, the second that you said, I want to record this in the bar, my brain went immediately to technical side of how do you get the cleanest recording,
Well, that's cool.
which is
That's
an
normal.
interesting thing about my brain, I guess.
There's nothing wrong with that, bro. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. That's a normal thing.
Yeah.
It is a lot. It is a fucking production. Even like before you got, yeah. But
Yeah.
what?
I don't remember.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate you sharing this stuff about, you know, that girl dating.
Yeah.
Because we all date, you know, whether you're a girl, with a girl you dated got paid to do that stuff. I've dated girls who didn't get paid to be a whore.
Yeah. Well, okay, so like after like we were in it for a minute, then she was like, I have some clients that like would be interested in you joining in.
How much did she get paid? How much
Well,
did
and
she
that
get?
was it. Was I was like, how much do I get paid for this? Because like, I know that the saying is everybody has a price, but like, absolutely everybody has a fucking price. Like, let's go. And I was offered $1,000 for an hour of my time.
See,
And
with the
limit of
I don't
things
like
that I
don't
would do
like
for
that.
$1,000
No.
is.
You know what, Catherine? I'm glad you fucking said no. Yeah, I don't like.
I
that
didn't
shit.
say no. The scheduling didn't work out.
I don't know. I think that
There's a lot of things I would do for $1,000.
what's really interesting about what we're talking about is you kind of alluded to it earlier about being like, you know, being the jester, get paid to have these. You kind of said something at the beginning of this podcast about. I don't know. I've
Yeah,
learned
like
that
being paid to have relationships with your regulars.
yeah.
Which feels sleazy because I don't feel like that while it's happening while I'm working.
You
know?
When you said that, like, I know what you're talking about. There is a sense of you go into those bars in the gas lamp and those chicks just walk out with barely wearing any clothes. Come on in, baby. Come on, come on, come on. It's like there is a sense of you're getting paid for attention.
Yeah.
But like I have friends who have, one of my friends, one of the bartenders I'm friends with has a court jester tattooed on his arm. Like we are the fucking entertainers.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
But I think the way I think about what you and I do is like, dude, my job is to provide a service and entertain people. And there's so many different ways to do that.
Absolutely.
I try to go the comedic route. Yeah. I try to make my customers laugh. I try to whatever fucking bullshit they're going through in life. I'm like, hey, what's up, bro? Let's laugh a little laughter. I can't fix your problems, but we can maybe take your mind off it for a little bit.
Absolutely.
And I think that with women, more so with what I do and what everybody at my job does, is men will come in and go, I'm gonna pay you, and you're gonna give me a little love. Yeah. And I try to. The goal with what I'm doing here, wellness on the rocks, mental health in the hospitality industry, is to empower people to try to like better their lives.
Totally.
Whether it's you or me or someone who's starting out or somebody who's been doing this for 30 years, like how do we grow in this industry? It's tough.
Absolutely.
And I don't have the fucking answers.
That's like we started however long ago, and I was talking about just like feeling a little burnt out on people, And that's like, it's part of the job, dude. And it's like, am I going to get over that? Probably. Am I going to change my role as a way to get over that? Maybe. But like the mental health aspect is so interesting to me, which is why a year ago I was so stoked about you talking about this podcast. I mean, this was back when like we were doing shots together at work and shit like that, And yeah, like it's super fascinating to me, like trying to figure out how to not just be a bunch of drunk assholes.
What do you mean, as a customer or an employee, like at work?
That is one of those like stereotypes of the bar industry. It's that like everybody that works behind a bar is just a drunk asshole who just does a bunch of fucking drugs and hangs out in parties all the time, and like. I know 2 bartenders that are like that.
I know a lot of bartenders, but
but I'm like the people that I have like actual friendships with are all the people that are like they're not the party people, like they'll have a drink, they'll hang out, they'll talk, but they're not the people that are going fucking zooted out of their mind till 6 a.m. Not all the time, everybody has their exceptions occasionally.
Yeah, it's a fine line. It's a fine line. There is, because if I'm being honest, like that definitely does exist. Like very
well, and it's like I think it's definitely like rampant in our industry of alcoholism and drug addiction is like huge in our industry.
It makes sense. I mean,
we're drinking while we're doing this.
No, but I mean, just like whatever you like, we're selling alcohol, and it's like. I don't know how to explain it, but...
Well, it's interesting, too, because, like, people that, like, your guests always want to buy you something. They always want to party with the bartender. And, like, I've had a lot of talks about this with like, owners or managers of various places and stuff. Like, everybody's got different rules. Every bar has different rules, Like, are you allowed to drink during shift? How much are you allowed to? If you are allowed to, or is it a dry bar? What's going on? And it's interesting that it's like, if you are allowed to have a couple shots on your shift, if someone wants to buy you a shot, the people that I have talked to that are in like higher ups of places, it's like see that as a valuable thing of like it gets people wanting to go. Because like if you walk into a bar and you're like, hey, we're having a good time, can I buy you a shot? they're more inclined to buy another round because they're partying with the bartender. You know what I'm saying?
Point of sale. It's a point of sale.
Yeah, and it's interesting because it's like, where is it like, where does it turn from? Oh, our bartender's just getting trashed all the time. It's
very
that line
fine
between like,
very
oh, our
fine
bartender's
line.
getting trashed all the time versus like, our bartender's a fucking stiff who doesn't want to be here, you know? And finding that fine line is interesting, you know? Because it's like you behind the stick is like, you're trying to facilitate people having a good time, but you also have to keep your wits about you, you know? I don't know if any of that makes any sense.
You're absolutely right. It's tough because exactly what you're saying is like people want to come in and part. So for those who don't know, it's like I told my roommate works in the industry. He manages and bartends full time. He's like, oh, like, you know, everyone buys me a shot every night or so. But it's like, dude, when I go to work, people want to do a shot with me 5+ times a night.
Dude, it's like, depending on the night, it can be like every fucking 10 minutes, someone new walks in the bar and they're like,
let's do a shot.
hey, you want to do a shot?
So when you work in this industry full time, like what you do and what I do, over the weeks, months, years, that shit will fuck up your life. And I see that. Like, obviously, I'm speaking rhetorically to you, but like for those who don't know, it's like that shit like derails in hospitality. You work for these dive bars, you work for these pubs or whatever, like that can affect your whole life. So... well, there's a couple things. There's the one answer is don't work for those bars. Don't go to the dive bars who are doing shots all the time. The other thing is like, dude, you make a lot more money at those places.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
The corporate bars, like, it's so you got to find that balance.
The corporate bars, you make your 18. That's written on the ticket.
Right.
The dive bars and the bars that are locally owned and operated, that's where you get the people that you got your regulars that are throwing you 30% every time.
Right.
And you get the people that you never seen before throwing you 22, you know? Like
the trick is if you're one of those people this whole concept of this podcast is betterment of the people, the bartenders, like, can we grow and make better lives for ourselves professionally, physically, mentally? But like, I want to be able to go in, provide service to be able to show people good time and not nuke myself in the process.
Absolutely.
And it's a fucking challenge. And it is like, I've had to take a step back. Like I told you, this is my first time drinking in 5.5 weeks.
Yeah, I mean, I was honestly surprised when you cracked open a can for yourself today.
No, I want to drink and fucking have a good time, you know? And I need a break. But like, it's like this, we do sell alcohol. It's like when you do, here, let me paint you a picture real quick. Yeah. There are people who do this. All right, I'm a bartender. I'm going into my shift. We're hanging out before my shift. Let me have a beer before my shift. Okay, that's one. Before my shift, let me stop into the local bar, beer and a shot. Boom. Here's $20. Appreciate you. I'll see you after work. That's 2 and 3. Okay, I'm at work. I show up to work. Fucking team shot. Cheers. Let's go. 4. Boom. Let's go into the shot. Okay, an hour into the shot. That's my regular. Oh, what's up, bro? Let's do a shot. You want to do a shot? Boom, boom, boom. All right, that's 5. Boom. All right, a couple hours in the shift, more regulars come in, 6 shot, 7 shot. Okay, maybe you do 6. You get off your shifts. Shots with the team, boom, appreciate you. That's number 7. You sit down, beer and a shot, 8 and 9. Appreciate you. I'm all right. Let me go to another bar for after post shift. Let me have a beer and a shot. 9, 10. I'm gonna go home. All right, let me have a beer before I go to sleep. 10, 11 drinks in. Yeah, and there are people who do that.
And you've had more than a 6-pack.
Yeah.
And a quarter of a bottle of liquor.
Yeah.
At the end of the day.
So that does add up over time, and I think that my thing is like you got to be careful, and you got to like I don't know how to how do you see yourself doing that? Like how do you with the people who are in that? How do you like snap out of that?
So it's so interesting. So like I used to have real bad problems with alcohol, and every once in a while I can see it like sneaking back up. Where it's like, this is bad. I need to fucking...
What does that look like?
To me, it looks like where... The biggest tell for me is when I'm drinking at home by myself. And, like, not like I'll have a beer on my day off while I'm chilling at home, you know, have a beer with like dinner or whatever, maybe a beer or two. But like sitting down and like pouring a bottle of whiskey down my gullet, you know? And so for me, like, there is that. But it's also like, I do like taking shots with my regulars. One of the things, though, that I have realized is that, like, all right, so I'm 33 now. And, like, people tend to respect you more than you would think. If they're like, hey, can I buy you a shot? And you go, no, I don't want one right now, but I appreciate it. And, like, the first couple times that I said that, like I said, I struggled with alcoholism before. And so it's like, well, obviously, always, continually. But, like, putting that in, and I always thought, like, when I was, like, super in the shit, like, not remembering yesterday, you know, like, real bad. And, like, I used to think that people would be, like, they don't want to hang out with you anymore. They don't want to be your friend, you know, whatever. No. If someone offers to buy you something and you go, no, I'm not doing a shot right now, nobody gives a shit. Nobody cares. They say, okay, cool. And then they move on. Or if you're like what you were doing for the last, month, 5 weeks, where you were taking a break. And like, I think there were a couple times that I asked you and I was like, yo, you want a shot? And you're like, nah, I'm taking a break. Everybody respects that, you know? And that's like, I think that comes also from the bartender side of it. It's the same thing. Like, if I have a regular that comes up to me and I'm like, hey, you want your usual? And they go, no, I'm not drinking right now. I'm going to take a couple weeks off. I never say, fuck you, buy something from me. It's always like, oh, dude, good for you. Get that reset, you know? Do your shit. Thanks for coming and seeing me anyways. You know, like, let's go. Like, I'm happy for you that you're, like, taking a little break. You know, like, I don't know any bartenders that have had any success in this industry that would try to pressure someone who's not drinking into drinking. You know?
I do know those people. I do. They exist. And they're fucking, you know, that's another conversation. But I think what resonated with me when you just said that is like, I can't fucking hear myself. What resonated with me when you just said that is like, that's actually, you saying no and not feeling the pressure is really important.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Because I, like, just me personally, I do feel that way. Because, dude, well, like I'm saying, people ask me to do shots, or they did, like, 5, 6, 7 times a night. And, like, when you start to say no, they look at you, they're like, bro, you know what they say? You'd make a lot more money if you did. Not everybody, but I've heard that. Like, that look they give you, like, dude, that. Like, we'll spend some money. And the fact that you're able to just be like, no, like, I'm good. I'm not going to let this distract me.
Yeah, I'm putting me above the money.
That's really important. And that's so important in this industry. Because a lot of people will take that easy route. Let's do the shot. I'll make a little extra money. I won't even charge. Maybe I won't charge you for mine. Maybe I won't even charge you for yours. And you'll throw that money in my tip pool. But like the repercussion of doing that in your brain, your mind, your job.
Dude, it absolutely fucks your mental once you get on that as like this is the normal. Is that like that was the last time I had to take a break. I ended up I took a 2-month break. And I say break lately where so I put rules for myself. So rules were I was allowed to have NAs. Because I still wanted to go hang out with my friends, and I went out and had waters once, and it just, I don't know. I drink beer out of a bottle. It's weird to hold a water glass. It weirded me out, so it was like, I'll drink NAs, you know? And, but I was allowed to have 1 drink my last day of the week. And I had to have it at work before I did anything else. So, clock out before my 2 days off, 1 day off, whatever. My last shift of the week, clock out, I'm allowed to have 1 drink. And I did that for like 2 months. But like that reset was huge for my mental. because you start getting in. The reason that I started doing that was I started getting into this rhythm where it was like, all right, so 95% of my shifts, I'm going to have 5 people come in that are going to offer me a shot, right?
Yeah.
Now, like, the person that, as I'm, like, managing, and I got to manage the money and shit like that at the end of the night, I'm going to say no to 2 of them, right? So I'm still going to take 3 shots from them. But at the end of the night, I'm buying a shot for me. I'm buying a shot for the busser. I'm buying a shot for whoever else happens to be here that knows that I'm kicking them out and this is their last finale. Like, I'm buying a shot for all of us. And then I'm going to have my shit beer. And then I'm going to go back and I'm going to count the money. I'm going to vibe out. And it was like coming to that point of like, dude, I'm just saying yes too much. Like, that's
Right,
insane.
become a
Like,
yes man.
I'm saying yes too much that it's like, these people are going to have a 5% better time if I take a shot with them.
Right.
But that's not worth my mental, dude.
Right.
It's not worth my brain. It's not worth, me getting a little tipsy or whatever. It's not worth it.
It's not worth it.
I'm at work. I'm trying to do my job, and
Right.
it's not worth it.
But yeah. Appreciate. Yeah. Good luck. Yeah, dude. True. I'm gonna take a pee, and then I'm gonna keep having this conversation. Do you need a whiskey?
No, I'm good. Thank you. Yeah.
Okay, and we're back. So what do you think? Would you ever want to do something like this to a podcast or something?
Oh, me?
Yeah.
So that's interesting. I feel like I'm a vaguely creative person, but like this medium is not the medium that I want to express myself in. Like, for me.
What is the medium?
So the medium for me would be like, if it was up to me, I would be on tour playing music right now.
Ooh.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Like, I don't know. I think for me it's the internet aspect. Like, I don't know, like, we're the same age, but I feel like I diverged into the, like, stupid fucking millennial bullshit. But I diverged more towards, like, the internet is just, like, a tool for the cool things that you want to do, rather than the internet.
What do you think this fucking thing is?
Well, but rather than the internet being, like, the medium that you put your creative effort into, like, that's like when we were, so for instance, like when we were touring really hard at the beginning of the 2010s, right? Like, I was touring in a hardcore band for the first half of the 2010s. And like, the thing that we didn't do well was internet presence.
So about like marketing?
Well,
that's what the internet is. It's literally marketing.
And that's it.
It's
and
marketing.
that's like, to me, it comes back to the same thing. Like, dude, I had a dating app for 3 days.
Okay.
And I was like, I can't talk to people on the internet.
Right.
That's fucking stupid. Like, I want to talk to people in real life. And so it's like, the podcast thing is not a medium for me, in that, like, I want to talk to people directly. I want to be able to.
That's what you and I are doing right now.
Yes, that's what you and I are doing.
Yeah.
But like I want to have that connection with, like. So back when we were touring and stuff, like, I had the most surreal experience of my entire life thus far is having a room full of 1,000 people yelling my words back at me is fucking insane, bro.
I can only imagine that feeling.
That's fucking ridiculous. And that's like, I like that viscerality. I don't know if that's a word. The visceral feeling of, like, human beings in a space together, experiencing something together. And the internet, to me, is a block on that. Where it's like, I enjoy listening to podcasts. I've enjoyed listening to the first couple episodes of your podcast. But it's like it doesn't have that visceral feeling of like someone else's presence with you. You know what I'm saying?
So
does that make any sense?
That's interesting.
So that's where I feel like I said, like I had the dating app for three days, and it was like I can't get a read on anybody because I'm not in the room physically with somebody.
The dating apps,
you know?
I agree, because that's pictures and words.
Yeah.
The podcasts are hours and hours of, like, I think for me, for example, I connected with the podcast because I've spent a lot of time alone.
Yeah.
So when you don't have other people to connect to, this is why this is, like, meaningful.
Yeah.
And I think that's why successful people do this, is because they're able to connect with, they're able to express themselves in.
You're able to connect through this. And that's like, I did experience like a little bit of that, obviously, like, you know, having people yell my words back at me. Like, these are people that heard things through their fucking iPods.
Yeah.
You know, so it's like, there is that, but it was like,
who's your favorite band?
I like having that payoff of being around people.
I totally agree.
You know?
That's why people come visit us at the bar.
Yeah. Yeah.
Who's your
That's
favorite
why we're doing
band?
Ooh, my favorite band.
Who inspired you to get on the bass? I know your parents or whoever, but like.
Yeah. So, so it's funny. So I always want to. So
what answer? Who's your favorite band? Tell me. Tell me who's your favorite band.
Okay, favorite band of all time is got to be Led Zeppelin.
How many times have you met Led Zeppelin?
0.
Exactly.
Yeah,
You've
dude,
connected
it's
with them
insane.
over the fucking internet.
Well, but okay, so you asked.
That's what I'm saying.
You asked who's my favorite band. You didn't ask who's the band that I connected with the most.
Okay.
Right?
Well, you're okay, but who's your favorite person is somebody who you've never met. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's fair.
So it's the same concept.
That's fair. That's and it's probably a little bit hypocritical, but it's like I want my experiences to be more visceral. You know.
So when you say visceral, define that. I don't know. What do you mean by that?
I like the.
You want to be able to touch it.
Yeah, I like the tactile feel of having someone in the room with me. I like to like. This is gonna sound really fucking gross, but like
No,
I like to like feel someone else's breath and someone else's fucking vibe with me, dude.
Yeah.
Which I think is why I got intoxicated with this industry to start with.
So let me ask you this. You with this platform, you can connect, like, maybe not to the extent of feeling the breath on your neck, but like this is what you're talking about is this platform.
Well,
being able to connect with people who long for that.
So that's like with this being like the thing that like you're pursuing and stuff like that, like I thought immediately about like, you know, how cool it was for me when I used to tour and having people like, I had a few times where people would come up to me and be like, dude, like I'm not 100% on the same page with what you were talking about. This is what I got from it, and it made sense to me and it resonated with me, and that's cool as fuck, you know. And like having that conversation, and for me, like if this podcast picks up a little steam or whatever, I'm so excited for you to have that conversation with someone that you don't know that rolls up, that's like through the podcast. This is Taylor McQuaid from Stout Public House, and like someone rolls into your bar and they're like, dude, I've been listening to your podcast and I don't want to bother you, but like your podcast has like done some shit for me, dude. I listen to it all the time. And like, I want that for you because I've experienced it a few times and it's insane, dude. Like, and it's not like the ego boost. It's more of like I'm where I need to be right now. I'm doing what I am supposed to be doing at this moment in time.
It's connectivity.
Yeah.
You know? That's not why I do it. I mean, well, no, I do it. I don't know. I think like, can I be honest with you? I think I do it for selfish reasons. I do all this for selfish reasons.
All good art starts with selfish reasons.
I think, I make art for myself.
Yeah.
And then if people connect with it, they connect with it. If they
and
don't,
that's
then
the thing.
And
that's the thing is that's why I have played music my entire life. Is for me it was a way to interact with my depression in a healthy way. you know?
Well, it's expression. I think
Yeah.
you've got to let it out when you don't.
But it's that where when you're not expecting it, when you're fully doing a thing for yourself as a way to express yourself for yourself. This is a thing that I am doing just for the betterment of me, and having someone else that no plans or whatever of anybody coming up and talking to you about it, come up to you and be like, yo, I vibe with that. Like, that's insane.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, I know that's not your goal. That wasn't my goal. That's never been my goal, playing music. Like,
It's cool when you can impact other people.
Yeah, like I'm working on more music right now for the first time in fucking 8 years, because it's time for me to write about shit that's in my head, you know? And I want to put out music, you know? And I don't give two fucks if anybody listens to it. If they do, dope, cool. But I want to do stuff for me. It's a creative outlet for me. It helps me center my focus, helps me get away from negativity, you know?
Everybody needs an outlet, whether it's sports or, art or, gymnastics, musicians, whatever. I think people connect with vulnerable art.
Absolutely.
And that's a really challenging thing to do.
Yeah.
Being vulnerable for random people to hear is like fucking strange, because we all have vulnerability issues.
Dude, absolutely.
And that's like what you and I do as bartenders. It's almost like people expect that from us. Like they show up being like, give me yourself.
Oh my God, dude. So that's like, okay, so this is a perfect segue to this. So, like I have a couple tattoos, right? Like
just a couple.
Couple, right?
Means two or more.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, I have a few. I'm decently covered on the top half of my body.
I can only imagine what. And
that's the thing is like, the only people that ask me about tattoos are people that are on vacation who know they will never see me again. And they come up and they sit at my bar and they're like, hey, what do your tattoos mean? And I'm like...
It means Spanish for don't fucking ask me.
Yeah. And I'm like, dude, all right. So I have 3 stupid tattoos. Just stupid. They're fun. I have enough good tattoos that it's like, I can have a couple stupid ones, right? Things that just make me smile. Those are the ones that I talk about. Like, you wanna know about anything else? Nobody wants to have that conversation at this bar right now. That's not incentivizing you to hang out with me at all. Because you're gonna immediately go like, oh, fuck. This isn't what I expected. This is not what I wanted to talk about right now. And like, like the majority of the tattoos are about fucking like depression and suicidal tendencies and shit like that. And like, no, I'm going to talk to you about the fun ones. And hopefully that gets you distracted enough for me to walk away and talk to somebody else. You know? I think it's interesting in that bar sphere of, like you said, like it's a decent enough proportion of people that walk up to the bar that just want to know everything about you. You know? Like, do you get that?
I do. Yes. It's almost like, I think what I'm learning is people, like the more, if I'm insecure about myself, I want to ask you everything about you, because it opens you up. So maybe there's a door right there. I don't know, man. I can't, like, I'm not a psychiatrist. I'm a bartender.
I mean,
but like,
it sounds like a psychiatrist without a degree.
Without it, 100%. But like, I think that people come to bars for so many different reasons. And like, I don't know what it's like to be 55. We're in our early 30s.
Yeah.
And I know what life is like for somebody in their early 30s who's had their highs and their lows.
Yeah.
Who's failed and who's succeeded. But what I don't know is what somebody's like in their 50s and 60s who's failed a lot. Yeah. So it's like, I do try to have empathy. I try to like put myself in your perspective. Perspective is huge. Why is this person asking me these questions? And a lot of people just like they're trying to pass the time and they're trying to make meaning of their life. I can't give that to you in a couple pints.
Yeah, it's so funny. So it's like that's an interesting prospect of like behind the bar, I don't lie about products, but I lie about myself all the time. Does that make any sense?
It's totally normal.
Yeah. Where it's like,
Yeah.
You get to those regulars that are like, you're cool with, and it's been a few years and whatever, that then you can open up a little bit more. But like, if you walk up and you asking me some fucking crazy shit to try to project onto me, like,
give me what's an example of some of this.
Okay, so actually, this is one that I've been for the last like year since you first brought up this podcast to me. There is one question that I wanted to ask you.
Okay.
All right. So,
ask me as if you're a customer. Let's do a little
ask
role play.
All right.
Role play.
All right. So ask you.
Oh, hi, Kat. Oh, hey, what's going on? Oh, what can I get for you to drink, miss?
My brother just died in a car accident yesterday. I just need a beer.
Okay, I got you coming right up.
Dude, is that the fucking, like, I'm not trying to be insensitive here, but like,
when in
bro,
that real
that
situation, it's funny. That's funny. Yeah.
Fucks me up,
Yeah.
and
No,
it happens.
no.
It happens once a year.
It's really funny.
You have someone come in,
Yeah.
and it's like, what do I do in this situation? Because
I'll
I'm
tell
here,
you, no, exactly. No. What I do is I say, okay, let me get you a beer. I cut off emotion.
Yeah.
I cut off, in that situation, I cut off empathy. I don't go, oh, I'm so sorry, blah, blah. I go, no, I do say, I say, oh my God, I'm so sorry to hear that. What can I get you? I keep it professional.
Yeah.
Can I get you a beer? I'm not, like, if you come
Yeah.
through the door, my fucking wife just killed herself with all my 3 children. I say,
Yeah.
oh, I'm so sorry about that. What can I get for you? I keep it like, I'm not going to sit there and just fucking do that. That's me. What can I get for you? Can I get you a Guinness and a Jameson shot?
And like, I'm the same way, but those are...
Let me get a card. Do you want to start a tab or close out?
Those are the ones...
That's what I do.
Those are the ones, though, that like, at the end of the day, and you're like, you're counting your money at the end of the day, just trying to get the fuck out of there.
I don't. I'm good.
Oh, dude, at the end of the day, and I'm like...
I have gotten to a point...
I have so many faces in my head of people that I have not seen since that moment where they have walked in and been like, yo, like, my brother killed himself yesterday. I just need a beer.
I say, okay, do you want a fucking lager or a pilsner or like, no,
full professional.
I go like, what do you want, bro?
Full professional while it's happening, but all of those faces are stuck in my fucking brain forever of these people that I'm like, and like, dude, I'll be thinking about, to this day, I'll think about people that I've had that conversation with months and months ago that, again, I came at it super professional, like, what can I get for you? I'm so sorry about that. Like, what can I get for you? And then, you walk away, let it do anything else in this fucking building than try to, be. And I think about these people and I'm like, dude, like, what impact was my interaction on this person? And my only hope is that it was neutral.
So the way I think about it is, what about all the people who experience that who don't come into the bar and who have to deal with those things? So you have to deal with life. If I can help you out a little bit, I'll help you out. But like, no. This is a business. We're selling a product. I'm not selling myself to you. If you want to order something, you can order something, and I will sit there. I will talk to you given the circumstances.
But it doesn't fuck with you at the end of the day.
Nope, not a fucking chance. I turn that shit off. You can call me lack of empathy. You can insult me or whatever you want.
No, that's just self-preservation.
Dude, there's empathy and there's also no. But like that's what you have to do when you talk to therapists. I've talked to therapists who've never been behind the bar, who are full-time therapists, and they're like, "Yo, it's eating me up. I had to take a break." Like you have to treat this as a job. That is how I treat this, as a job. And it's not about, that's not disrespectful, because what we do, the customers that I see, the homeless people, the people who are living on the streets, I do see those fucking people.
Yeah.
It's like, I can't take that into my psyche.
Yeah.
This is a 9 to 5. It's about making money. It's a business. If I can be kind to you, I will be. But that's your, whatever life circumstance is not my responsibility.
Yeah.
It's not my responsibility.
Yeah, I'm getting. I have been in this business for 14 years now, and I am still working on that disconnect. And it's like, I've gotten to the point in the last, probably 10 years now. I've gotten to the point where I'm able to disconnect during the moment, but those are still the things that fucking haunt me at the end of the day, bro. I don't know. It still comes back to that, like. What I said at the beginning of this podcast was like, everyone that you talk to that comes into the bar is doing like their own shit, and everybody's all on their own different wavelength and trying to keep that professional atmosphere, no matter why you're here, whether you're, it doesn't matter who you are or what you're going through. I'm here to provide a service, and I think the danger in our business is falling into that shit,
Yeah, I do. The first time I ever experienced that, I was in Upper West Side, New York City, JG Mellon. A woman came to the bar, said, "My house just burned down. I need," like, shaking. And I was like, how do you want your fucking cheeseburger cooked?
Yeah.
Come on, dude. Like, yeah, it's interesting. It's an interesting topic. Like, because bartenders really are we're the heartbeat of the cities. San Diego, the bartenders are the heartbeat of the city.
It's so interesting. So we're, what is it, 24? So we're 4 years removed from COVID right now, right? Yep. So that was so interesting with COVID. I'm good for now, thank you. It was so interesting with it really. I don't know if I had never thought about this before or if it just kind of clicked into place. Was the bar is an industry that will never die. It has been around since man invented alcohol, when they, discovered alcohol. Okay, so you get a promotion at work. What are you doing? You getting a drink. You get laid off at work. What are you doing? You getting a drink. Your fucking brother has a baby. What are you doing? You getting a drink. You're just off of work. What are you doing? You getting a drink.
Doing a podcast. What are we doing?
Yeah, we're getting a drink. I do not care what your life circumstance is. You're getting a drink. And that says something about humanity, that we all have to poison ourselves just a little bit, But the job security that I felt during COVID was insane.
Facts.
So the way that it worked for us, so because we do food and stuff, so
you
we
were
did
Knotty Barrel.
Yeah. So the way that it worked for us was that dude, we took 2 days that we were closed. And then we went right back to, okay, we're allowed to do takeout. Yeah. Let's fucking roll. And so there were only a handful of us that signed up for takeout shifts, because it was mostly...
So were you guys doing drinks to go or just food?
At the beginning, we were doing drinks to go. And then, things...
Do you guys have outdoor seating there?
Yeah.
So
we were doing that, and then that got outlawed, and then,
When in Jersey, there was 3 months of no work.
Yeah.
New York City was a year plus.
Yeah, so we had takeout was kind of what we settled into for the first 7 months, was takeout. And so there were only a few of us, because mostly it was the owners would come in and work shifts, or the people on salary.
You have to pay labor. Right.
Yeah, exactly. So you can lay off everybody.
Yeah.
So that you're not affecting your overhead as hard as you could, Makes sense. Solid business decisions, right? But there were a few of us because they needed like 16 hours of the week, 4 4-hour shifts. They just needed someone else.
I remember. Yeah. I went through it, dude. I was in Jersey. Yep.
Yeah. And like, so I was working one 4-hour takeout shift a week, which is basically like I'm hanging out with the owner, shooting the shit and selling food. And this was like, when it first started, like, the rules were vague enough that it was like you could have a drink while you were waiting for takeout, right?
I see what you're saying. Yep.
Yeah.
As customers, they could.
Yeah. So then it was like, playing with all that, where it's like, all right, you're outside and like you are technically waiting for takeout, and like trying to do that. But it really popped into like really clear for me after the first couple months that I was like, this is literally the worst thing that can happen to our industry.
It was.
And
dude, preach.
And we still have people that actively want to hang out with us and are only can't because they're legally not allowed to.
Well, that shows the strength of your restaurant and your brand and you and your owners and everybody who is fucking like ripping, and they go, we miss Knotty Barrel, we miss Catherine, we miss fucking Robbie,
dude,
we miss everybody.
The first time that we were able to have people come into the bar,
they probably threw a fucking party.
Those first few months where it was up and down, because we had out here, we were able to go back to full service, but everyone everywhere had to wear masks.
I know,
well,
bro.
I don't know in Jersey how it was different from California, right? So that's the perspective that I'm coming from. So 6 months after everything started, we had 3 weeks where we were allowed to be open, but everyone everywhere had to be in a mask.
6 feet.
Unless...
Tables 6 feet apart, 25% occupancy, masks.
Yeah.
Masks to use the bathroom, fuck off. Yep.
And those 3 weeks
did you crush it?
Were some of the hardest, busiest weeks that I have ever worked in my life.
100%. 100%.
We got fucked. Like, absolutely. And like, all while this is happening, we're like, this is, like, our bar, which I'm sure it's the same as your bar, like, you don't have a wait. You never go. I don't care if you are packed to the gills. You don't go on a wait. That's how you end up fucking 3-4 deep at the bar. It's standing room only. That's the way that the fucking bar works, right? But because of the legal stuff, we were on like 45-minute fucking waits, dude. Of having people like standing outside and me being like, hey, I gotta bust this table really fast and then I'll let you sit. But like, please think of what you want and tell me as soon as you sit down because I don't have time. Bro, fucking
that was
insane.
COVID. Yeah.
But that was like this wake up call of like, if I can stay in this industry until I die, and I will always have work no matter what.
Cheers, dude. Fuck yeah. Ugh. That is the thing, Catherine, is like, how do you and I spend the next 20 years of our careers? Not personal life, business careers. Like, how do we succeed the next 20 years in this career? It's kind of one of the things I was talking about earlier is like, what do we do? What do you want to do? Do you want to open up Catherine's fucking, Catherine's K-cups or whatever you call them? I don't know, but like
Catherine's K-cups. Cool. I'm gonna be just manning the Keurig in the back.
I think about those things a lot. How do I want to spend my 40s and 50s? Do I want to be bartending? Do I want to be slinging pints? I want to have income where I don't have to use my body. My mind's, I don't mind. I don't mind fucking talking to people. My body's what's taking the blow.
Do you have like a pedometer or like an Apple Watch or some shit?
I average when I'm working, I average 10.5 miles a day.
Yeah, that's what I was just gonna say. Like, it's interesting, like talking to people who have like regulars that have desk jobs and shit, and like, you know, everybody's always going to the gym all the time and like doing all this cardio and shit. I'm like, and I've had several people that are like, yeah, like, when do you go to the gym? And I'm like, I walk.
My job.
I walk 8 to 12 miles a day, depending on how busy it is, 5 days a week. Do I need to go to the gym?
I'm good,
No,
bro.
I'm good. I am also, the bartender diet is like, you eat what, twice a fucking day? You know?
Bro.
Like it's not like you're gorging yourself eating snacks while you're sitting at your fucking computer desk in the air conditioning.
It's terrible.
You know?
I eat buffalo chicken sandwiches. Like,
Yeah. Sorry, that sounded so derogatory towards people that work in the office, but it's a job that I could never do.
No, dude, it's a reality, dude. You eat. Here's the thing: I stopped eating the food at all my jobs. I don't eat that stout. When I was in Jersey, New York, I stopped eating that food. When I was in Boston, I was like, fucking no.
Dude, I can't. So here's the deal. So when I manage, I get a free meal, right? At the current state that I'm in at the job, I typically work 3 to 4 managing and bartending shifts, so like combo a week, plus an additional 1 to 2 solo managing shifts. It's very rare. It's like once every other week that I get a shift where I'm just bartending. And dude, it's like fucking vacation when I roll in there. It's like, I don't have to give a shit about anybody else in this building. I get to just do my shit. You know, whereas like the shifts that I'm bartending and managing, like I gotta fucking manage everybody else. I gotta make sure everything else in the restaurant is running smoothly. When I just show up to bartend, it's like, dude, I don't give a shit. I'm slinging fucking drinks. I'm talking to people. I'm in a great mood. Let's have a fucking blast. Everybody else can run the fucking food. They could deal with complaints. I don't give a shit. It's not my problem. Right? But like, because I get that free meal, dude, like, am I going to pass up on free food? Like,
no, never, bro.
Like, I make enough money, but like, I don't make enough money to pass up on free food. And our kitchen is good. Really good. But I'm like, dude, I'm getting to that point where I'm like, I've been eating there 5 days a week for nearly 2 years at this point.
Bro.
So
it adds up.
Like, I've got a couple things that I eat just because they're good, but they're not like that fucking flavor bomb. You know what I'm saying? Where it's like something that tastes good, but it's not like super, like, it's not like a full experience. You know, like I can fucking have a margarita flatbread and it tastes like fucking cheese and tomatoes. You know, like it's good and they cook it well. And like, absolutely, I'll recommend it to people, but it's a piece of food that I don't have to think about. You know?
It's sustenance.
Yeah. It's like it's like getting fucking it's like getting ramen. It's the same thing. It's just sustenance. You know,
you do start to think like that when you work in restaurants with food. It's like your mind does fucking bend.
Well, that's why I just drink fucking Coors Light nowadays, dude. I drink Coors Light and Jameson everywhere I go, because I've worked with craft beer for so long that I don't want to think about the drink that I'm drinking when I'm off work. Coors Light has tasted the exact same since I was 17 years old, and it tastes like fucking Rocky Mountain spring water. And that's what it tastes like. You know? And that's it. I don't have to think about it. I don't have to, like, I'm never drinking Coors Light and being like, oh, I wonder what hops they put in this. You know? Like, it's like, it tastes like water that has 4.5% alcohol in it. You know
what's funny is,
and the Jameson has been the same since what, 1836 or whenever the fuck that distillery started. Like, you know, I don't have to think. I've had so many thousands, if not tens of thousands of shots of Jameson that I don't have to fucking think about it. Dude.
How many cases of Jameson?
How many cases of Jameson?
Yeah, but like, it is funny. It's like, oh, what are the hops? Like, you do have those people, and then when you get to a point, where,
especially like where we're at, like we,
dude, fucking,
like we brew our own beer and stuff. So it's like I have to know that shit.
Dude, can I say something? I had no idea you guys brew your own beer.
So we started doing that 8 years ago. So
what's
8 months before I moved here.
What's the good Knotty Barrel beer? When I come in next time, what's the best beer you guys brew?
So, okay, so...
Bro, you just gotta spit it out. So
I know.
What is it?
Okay, so on draft currently, my favorite is our American style pale ale.
What's it called?
It's called Robot Barber.
Robot Barber, bro.
So it's. I also hate it. How many people you have that come in that like, do you have a sessionable IPA on tap? Do you have any of those people? Like, you're not at a beer bar, but like still, like I'm sure you get that
once in a while.
Do you have like, I want like an IPA, but I want it sessionable? And like, dude, fuck that word and fuck whoever coined the term sessionable. Because sessionable is like, well, it's like an IPA that I can have 19 of and not get fucked up. And I'm like, get a Bud Light, bro. Get a Bud Light. If you want to drink and not get fucked up, get a Bud Light. But like, no. So the Robot Barber is, it's an American style pale ale. So it's not as bitter as, you know, like your big IPAs. It's not like a Pliny the Elder or some shit like that. But it's also got like a little bit of that character to it. It's actually a pretty well balanced beer. But it also clocks in at like 6.5. So it's like your average person can have like,
it's more than Guinness.
Yeah, but your average person can have like 3 of them with food and not be fucked up. They can be buzzed, but they can, you know, go home and have a good night about it. You know? All right, you got a question for me. What you got? I mean, Guinness first, then question later.
Mine's first. Mine always starts first.
What you got?
I've talked to a couple of feminists recently.
I was going to say, I think this is the question that you handed me the sheet of paper, and I was like, oh, no, absolutely ask more questions from the sheet of paper because it's funny.
That was just for the record. That sheet of paper was for me and not you. It's not for my guests, so you're a stealer and you're thieving. No, just kidding. What do you think about the word cunt?
I love it.
You love it?
Fantastic.
What about me being a male?
What about it? I would love if... Okay, so here's...
Is cunt cool? Is cunt cool?
It depends on the context that you're using it in. And most of the time, it's cool and aptly used. There are...
No, but seriously, like...
I think that it's similar...
We're in this war. We're in this time of the world where everything's like, everybody's sensitive. You can say this, you can't say that. It's like, dude, British people say it, and it's like fucking rolls off the tongue, and I'm like, damn, dude.
You ever heard a Scottish person say cunt, and it just sings, man.
It twangs.
Yeah.
It's got a little fucking nerd. Yeah. It's like a fucking Zach Bryan song as it ends, bro.
I mean, okay, so I might be the wrong person to ask this question.
You're a female. You're the right person to ask.
No, but I'm also like pretty gay. And
you had to think about it.
So like, there's
how gay am I? I'm pretty gay.
There's a certain slur that I've been called a lot of times derogatorily.
Really? What is it? Which one?
Well, it's the one that starts with F that I won't poison your podcast with.
Gotcha,
you know,
gotcha,
like
gotcha.
I don't, you know.
You could say it. I don't care. I'll say it.
Well, and that's the thing is that like
you don't want to say. I know what you're saying. Okay.
Yep. That is one of my favorite words. It is
what, fag?
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh,
dude.
Yeah, really?
Because it's all within context.
Yeah, right.
It's all within context. So that's like, you know, like, so my roommate is also a fucking gay human being, right? And so it's like, dude, we're just every day we wake up and lay in our respective bedrooms for an hour scrolling on the fucking internet and just send
two different bedrooms.
Yeah, and just send each other fucking memes that have that word in it, and it's always fucking hilarious. Today, dude, I was playing video games this morning, chilling out, and I forget what happened. I think I was scrolling on my phone, and something popped up on my phone right as she happened to walk up behind my shoulder and saw something on my phone. And she leans in, she makes me take my headphones off, and she goes, "Fucking faggot." And I was like, dude, that's fucking hilarious. Between the two of us, that's hilarious, right? So, okay, so cunt is interesting, though. Because
Talk to me about cunts, because I love that word. Talk to me.
It's such a solid... So, okay. For me, cunt is like the next level of like bitch. You know?
Right.
It's that next level. And some people deserve to be called a cunt because they're being worse than being a bitch. Also, it's a really funny word to call dudes.
Dude, that's what I'm saying. Is like you call your buddy a cunt. Like it's like a term of endearment.
Yeah.
Oh, you fucking cunts! Like shut up.
Well, see, and
you know?
that's the thing is, I would like it to get that way in America.
Like if I ever talked to, like I would never talk down to a woman and be like you're a cunt. Like that's a little disrespectful. That's like, all right, you're using your piece of power.
Well, and that's like from, like I've known you for a little while, and I'm like, you would never say that to a woman unless they were absolutely 1,000% being a cunt.
I don't think. No, well, I would never call somebody a racial slur or a fucking sexist slur. Like, I would just call them a fucking idiot. Like you bitch ass fucking. You know what I mean? Like, when you start pulling out those terms for
then it
it changes.
I think the problem with like those curse words for people, so it's so interesting too. It's like, like there are definitely things that are absolutely fucking slurs, absolutely things that I will never fucking say forever, but there are other things like I think that cunt is in this weird gray area.
Okay, good.
But I
good
think
shit, bro.
But I think it's becoming it's becoming more accepted because I think more people in America are starting to use it as a term of endearment because like the internet has done nothing but make the world a smaller place,
Ooh.
And it's like, all right, we see all of our fucking neighbors over here that are all calling each other cunts out of endearment, and like we want to do that too. That sounds fun, So it's like through the power of the internet, I think that words are getting put. There are less grays and more like, haha, that's funny, and more like, if you say that shit, like, kind of fuck you, Like that's like one of the ones like the R word is an interesting one. Because like you're the same age as me. You played video games growing up like I did, right?
I did.
So you spent some time in some Call of Duty lobbies, right?
I did.
Yeah, so you understand like the onslaught of things that are considered slurs now that weren't then. And I think it's interesting where we are at as a nation right now, where it's like a bunch of people are upset that words have been recognized as things that just like people shouldn't say anymore. And there are a bunch of people that are like, well, you don't like comedy and you don't like things that are funny and whatever. I'm like, yeah, but if you say that word in a funny way that's not disparaging to those people, absolutely, it's fucking gold. Like how many comedians that as the slur that I can say, which is the F one, how many comedians that I've watched that have used the word faggot to absolute comedic, like, perfection, right? But like, if I'm walking down the street to come see you after my shift, and some fucking dude walks by me and he's like, hey, fucking faggot, like, no, that's not okay. But like,
context,
it's all about context.
Yeah.
Yeah. It reminds me of, there's a John Mulaney bit, which I don't know if he's canceled right now or not because of his divorce and whatever. It doesn't matter. Anyways, there was a bit that he did long time ago, and he's talking about somebody. He's like, I think that, the word, like, in current context, I think that the word weird is just as bad as the N-word. And,
ooh, hot take.
And John Mulaney says, of those two words, there's one that you won't say. That's the worst one. I think that's fucking hilarious. So, no, I don't know. I think cunt's in an interesting point right now. I think that cunt is becoming a more fun word for more people. And I support it, absolutely.
I appreciate you for having this conversation with me. It's very funny.
Yeah, I think it's a fun word that hopefully finds more and more niches. I think it's a solid word. It's fun to say.
What are your questions for me, Catherine? What are your questions? Ask me a question.
Ask you a question. Oh man, I feel like I know so much about you from listening to your podcast. You know?
No, I don't agree with that. I don't agree with that. I've learned more about you today than you have in the 2+ years that you've known me.
Well, yes, I agree. But in the last 2 weeks, I've been taking the super study fast.
No, I've learned more about you in the last 2 weeks than you have in the last 2 years.
All right.
about me.
So here's a question for you.
Ask me something real, you bitch ass, you fucking bitch ass.
So here's a question for you.
C-word!
Oh, you can call me a cunt anytime. I'll laugh. Here's a question for you. So, I don't know. I feel like you talk about relationships a lot.
Do I?
Not So, it's I don't know. You always come back to,
I don't think I do. But I'm listening.
You have a tendency to come back to, what are you looking for in somebody? And just questions in general about relationships. So my question for you is, what are you looking for in a relationship? Because we've talked
Asian women.
Asian women?
No, I'm just kidding.
Because we've talked very briefly, and I know that your preferences are obviously you're a smart dude, and you wanna hang out with a smart chick.
Smart. Define. I don't know. Smart can be.
You tend to, obviously you want someone who's you're attracted to and whatever, but you tend to value conversation over aesthetics.
Intellect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So where would you put yourself? It's a two-parter. Where would you put yourself in what you're looking for, and then how hard? Second part of the question is how hard are you actively trying to find that?
How hard am I actively trying to find that? 0 to 10, a 2. Because it takes effort. It takes a lot of effort to find that. It takes effort, and so I'm not actively, looking to settle down. I think it takes a lot of there's so many things that we have in our life: jobs, personal relationships, romantic, family, everything. It's
yeah, dude, it's exhausting, man.
It is fucking. There's only so many hours in the day. If you're trying to succeed in life, you have to put more time into that fucking pile. And right now, that's what I'm doing. So, dating women takes effort.
Yeah.
Courting, getting to know, all that shit. And I'm just dude, I'm doing my thing. I'm so tired. I don't want to get to know you.
Well,
dude.
that's earlier when we were talking about my relationships and shit, and I was I've been trying to stay away from them, and then I've gotten in a couple, and then realized oh no, I'm the problem. And it's not that comes back to that same thing where it's it's not that I'm an asshole or I'm the worst. It's that dude, I need my time to fucking recover from everything else. And I don't know if that's a symptom of just being an adult in general, or if that's if it's more severe in our line of work where our job is to be with people all the time, me coming here to your house is the only thing other than if I feel like it, going to see my friends at the bar that you work at is the only thing that I have planned for the indefinite future.
I guess my question would be what are your interests? Do you do things outside of work that you find fun?
Honestly, most of my time is taken up by taking naps, especially during the summer.
Oh, come on.
No.
How many hours a week do you work? How many hours a week do you work?
I work 35-ish.
Dude, yo.
So, no, but I'm being serious. Most of the time that I spend is taking naps. But that doesn't mean that I don't have other interests, all right? So, you asked me to give you real answers. I'm giving you real answers, right? So, like, the last week, dude, I have napped for a solid fucking 40 hours, bro.
I don't believe that. I don't believe that because that means you slept for 80 hours.
The summer is always worse. No, because I wake up at like 7:30 in the morning. I go to bed at 2 and I wake up at 7:30.
7:30 a.m.?
Yeah, I go to bed at like 2 and I wake up at 7:30.
Okay, there's nothing wrong with that.
No, but then I take a nap later and then it makes it up to like 10 hours. No, so you asked me to be real, so that's where I spend most of my time. But no, dude, like honestly, I play video games a few times a week. I read a lot. That's actually I was about to leave my house today, and I made it out onto my landing, and then I went back inside to grab the book that I just started, throw it in my car, in case, like, I don't know, I was feeling like, hey, I'm close enough to the beach today. Maybe I'll go down to a beach bar where people don't know me, so I don't have to talk to them. I'll go sit at the bar, have a couple beers, and read my book.
What's your favorite beach bar?
I'm never down here, dude. So I come down here like twice a year, and it's usually at like midnight, and I come down and I stare at the ocean by myself while I listen to music. Like, you know? But so there's that. So like video games, I read, and then like I just fuck around on my various guitars and basses, and occasionally I'll come up with something that I think is cool, and then I'll record it. And dude, I just watched you crush that Guinness, and I just watched you time travel, dude. I just watched everything hit you all at once. Like, you ain't been drinking for a while, and I just watched it all fucking hit you right now.
I'm actually ready to go. If you wanted to have a fucking rock concert in this apartment, I'd do it. Like, you could start playing the bass, and I'd just fucking pull out a drum set and be like...
You're 32. Think about your knees.
It's just... Does drumming affect knees?
Yes.
Yo, I appreciate you. What else do you want to get at? Like, talk to me about anything. I feel like we got mad good shit. I feel like
we got good shit. I feel like we've been talking for like 2.5 hours.
Yeah, well, I know we have.
Minus some small little breaks.
Yeah.
And like any more questions nobody would want to listen to.
I know.
And
I'm
like,
so tired.
You look like you either want to sleep or do a fucking rail and get after it.
Well, both of those things are true.
That's what I'm saying, dude. Like, I know how cocaine works.
I know. Yo, appreciate you, bro.
Yeah, appreciate you, dude.
Thank you, bro.
Yeah.
We can get a pizza. I'll buy you a pizza if you want.
Nah, dude, I'm good. Yeah. I'm about to go to OB and read my book at a fucking dive bar.
Really?
Probably.
Damn, bro.
Yeah.